You're listening to The Pete Shepherd Show.
Hey, good morning, to the Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. It is Monday, August 26th. How is everybody doing today? Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Another beautiful but hot weekend here in Southwest Florida. We'll say check in with Angel Martinez in a second, see how his weekend went. Thanks, everybody, for checking me out, checking out the show and the whole network here at the Coastal Sports Network video platform. You can follow me at X Twitter at PShep326, on Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029TheGame.com, IRTB, CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. Call or text the show, 727-858-6650. So much to get to today. Here on the show, we'll recap all things NFL that happened over the weekend. Interesting scenario with the Patriots. Will Drake May get the start? Jacoby Brissett got a little banged up last night, a little bit. They said he could have returned, but he did not. Interesting stuff. People are all, rightfully so concerned about the offensive line, but Drake May, no question, looked like the best quarterback in camp. It's just a question of, do they want to send him out there with that offensive line? We will discuss other stuff in the NFL that's happened too. The Chargers got locked in their own elevator for a couple of hours. We'll get to that story as well. We'll have an MLB rundown. Lake Mary, Florida, winning the Little League World Series. Great job. I watched the whole game yesterday. Myself and Peanut Gallery watched the whole game yesterday. 8 inning. What a win for Lake Florida. They had so many chances. They gave up one run in the first, and that was it. And they had so many chances to score a whole bunch of runs. But what a great, beautiful game. Some unbelievable defense in that game by both teams as they beat Chinese Taipei, a.k.a. Taiwan, the team that has won 17 titles, I believe, in the past. But that was the first one for Florida ever. They've been into the finals 8 times, and that's the first time that the team from Florida has won Lake Mary. Remember back in the day, Angel, probably when you were a kid, or we were both younger, and Tampa Bay got in a couple of times, couldn't win it. We got a NASCAR, a weird type of injury, had nothing to do with the race. The winner yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, Lane Riggs, dislocated his shoulder celebrating. And, which leads me to my next point, our good friend Field Yates from ESPN was in the hospital on Friday and Saturday. And he'll be back on the air today. Wait till you see the video that we have of how Field Yates dislocated his shoulder. And when I tell you the reason why, if you haven't heard already, it's you're going to crack up. It's he did it in Bermuda. He's on a little vacay in Bermuda. So anyway, with that, we got a whole lot. We have from Deion Sanders as he continues, I think, to make a jackass out of himself with reporters, and we'll hear his explanation. The guy, you talk about thin-skinned and soft. It's just I've had it with Deion Sanders. God, I hope they start 0-3. I really do. And we'll recap week 0 in college football. Hey, Florida State. Sorry, Seminole Nation. That's what you get. I told you Georgia Tech was going to cover. In fact, all 4 underdogs covered, including Delaware State against Hawaii. But anyway, we say good morning to Angel Martinez. Angel, how was your weekend?
What's happening, Pete? Good morning to everybody in all countries overseas as we continue to expand.
Yes.
Good. Other than a crazy busy weekend, it was hot, just like you said. It was hot on the pitch. It was the best way to describe it. But yeah, it was a quick weekend. It seemed like. I mean, before we knew it, it was already Sunday night going into here we are again Monday morning. But yeah, what's the deal with Deion? Like all of a sudden, he used to be a lot tougher. Now it seems like everybody just gets under his skin.
Yeah, so like any constructive criticism at all, he likes, and he's so overly sensitive, it's embarrassing. So I could never, all these people that speculate that his son and him would go to Dallas, and one of the theories out there is Mike McCarthy get fired, that he would go there. With that media, he wouldn't let, in that atmosphere, please. He just wants everybody to kiss his ass. That's all he wants. And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. Your team stinks. They're going to be worse this year than they were last year. I don't care who the quarterback is. And you'll be lucky to win 4 or 5 games. You'll be lucky to get that, to do that. And then he's going to bail. I don't care what he says about staying. When his son goes, he's going to bail. I have no faith that he stays at Colorado. But that's like a whole, we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah, so lots going on. I'm trying to think. Let's play trivia before we get to all the NFL stuff and recap of college football week 0, all of that. Let's scroll down on my Twitter page if we could, Angel, and I have it's actually under the Twitter handle Explaining the Cubs, and it has the final play yesterday in the Little League game between Lake Mary and Chinese Taipei. I mean, it was just absolutely spectacular. Lathan Norton, who was sick and didn't play on Saturday, but came up big Sunday, scoring the winning run. So here's how, in case you missed it yesterday, here's how Lake Mary, Florida, won the Little League World Series in 8 innings.
Will they bunt Alexander with the runner at second base, Norton? He gets it down. Oh, it's perfect. He's rolling away. Lake Mary's going to win the Little League World Series championship. Chinese Taipei in shock. It was fielded and thrown to first base. Nobody was there on an incredible bunt by the last hitter in the order, Hunter Alexander. And for the first time, Florida are Little League World Series champions. 2-1 is the final. Will they bunt Alexander?
All right, so yeah, thanks to ABC with the call. That was a great play. And Chinese Taipei, all these kids, most of them, I mean, they're so good at such a young age. Chinese Taipei is so disciplined. I was stunned, and it would have been a tough play anyway had it been executed perfectly. The problem is, I'm sure they run this in practice like we used to all the time. You bunt down the first base line, pitcher and first baseman are charging. The second baseman has got to go cover first base. I'm sure he's done it 99,000 times, that kid, and covered first base on a situation like that. Instead, he went and covered second. Just a brain cramp. But I mean, these kids are 11 and 12 years old. And kudos to Lake Mary. First thing they did was go over and console all the kids. They celebrated a little bit. Then they went over and hugged all the Chinese Taipei kids. And it was just a great moment. It was a great moment. Amazing stuff. First time in 9 tries that Florida has won the Little League World Series. But in a way, I felt bad. But I saw it. I mean, as soon as it happened, I saw the bunt. I'm like, this is going to be a tough play anyway. Then he threw the ball to nobody. The second baseman should have been there, but not there. But their kids, it happens. He had a brain cramp, and good for Florida. They had so many chances in that game, Angel, to win. They had men on base like every single inning. And finally got it done. And, tied the game in the 6th and then got it done in the 8th inning. Great stuff. Gas Pump Guy says, good morning, fellas. Hope all is good. Have a good show. Gas Pump Guy, it's always a problem in Lehigh, it seems. Every day there seems to be a problem. So I saw that truck, Gas Pump Guy, that's this morning on the news, or happened yesterday, smashed into something and took the power lines down for a couple of neighborhoods. Don't know if you lost power yesterday, or I'm sure if you know the reason why, it was some knucklehead. Well, I hope the guy didn't have a heart attack or a stroke. Whatever it was, I hope you get the power back on now, because a couple of neighborhoods, because this guy smashed into a power line and took it down in Lehigh Acres. It's always something in Lehigh Acres. It's always something.
Did you hear about the Amazon guy who decided he wanted to prove that he can drink on the job, and he was driving? He had a note on a dashboard, like a little tearaway, probably like the size of this remote here, and he put something like, I told y'all I can drink and work, or something like that. And I'm driving on a sidewalk, because some of the sidewalks down here in Florida are wide enough where you can drive a vehicle down on it. So driving on the sidewalk, and then continues to drive. Someone's filling him. And then at the very end of the sidewalk, there's a house, and he plows right into the house and then tells a person like your delivery's here. Like, of course, he ended up getting arrested, but now the person's screwed because now they have the size of a hole from the Amazon truck from front to back because he decided he wanted to drink on the job.
Oh, well, speaking of that, that's insane. I mean, what are you thinking?
Stupid.
I don't get it. What are you thinking? I don't know. Like this other woman got arrested yesterday. Those of you in Southwest Florida at Nervous Nellie's, there's a video of this somewhere, Angel, too. At Nervous Nellie's restaurant, she goes up on the sidewalk. It's it's like a big island park thing, and I think it's in I think it was in Fort Myers, and she's in like an SUV. She clips the side of the restaurant. Thank God nobody was hurt, and then turns around and sort of going like 2 miles an hour, trying to weave through. It'd be like trying to, like where Margaritaville is down here in Fort Myers Beach and stuff. That those little parkways and stuff. It would be like trying to manipulate going through there. But she got out. She tried to anyway, and she crashed into a tiki bar. And then some hideous looking woman comes out of the car. I mean, she was just awful. They arrested her for drunk driving and everything else. She looked like an idiot. But that's the kind of crap that, luckily nobody got hurt because the people were sitting right up against the wall of the restaurant, and she didn't come barreling in, but it was, thank God she couldn't, but it was just absolute stupidity, more speeding on SR 82 down here, and stuff. And I hope more tickets got handed out over the weekend. Anyway, I won't go on a tangent, but yeah, so that's crazy stuff. So weather-wise today, it looks like we're not going to get any rain here until like 5 or 6 o'clock, at least our way today, Angels. The storms and everything else. We had a couple of doozies yesterday, late afternoon, Saturday and Sunday as well. But hopefully, wherever you are around this great country of ours and around the world, you are fantastic. So, anything else happen over the weekend?
Gapscom guy said that it was across the opposite side of where he is, opposite side of town. He said, I did with that storm that came through around 6:30 or 7. So it was a lot of storms that happened over the weekend. Some places, like, it's funny because where the house is, and literally we could probably take a Uncle Rico type football and throw it over like the fence.
Yeah.
And then the neighborhood directly behind us could get freaking hammered, and then we could literally, like Florida, just stare at him like, how about our lawn, for example? But it's nuts.
Well, no, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, a couple times last week it was storming on the front of the house and the back of the house, outside the back lanai. The sun's out. There's a rainbow. It's crazy down here sometimes with freaky. In the summertime it is so. Yeah. But the good news is there are no developments happening, way over there that could form into hurricanes, at least for the next 7 days. So that's good. Everything's all clear. So almost into September, and so far only Debbie, not your Debbie, but Hurricane Debbie, was she caused a little bit of problems for some people, but so far so good. As far as that goes. But man, we've had a lot of lightning this month. Holy cow.
Yeah, that
lots and lots of lightning.
Yep.
All right, my one guest today, I thought you might like this kid. I was on his podcast, Trevor Harris. I believe he's an Eagles fan too. I think he's from New England originally because he went to Connecticut School of Broadcasting like I did. Obviously, I'm much older than him, but he does a great job. He runs. He's like a board op / producer at QAM in Miami. He's been doing these games for a while, so he's one of the producers for Miami Hurricanes football. So I thought you guys would like to hear, kind of stuff, what goes on behind the scenes before a broadcast. He's really good. He's also got his own podcast, or he's part. What's it called? The Upper Bowl, that he does himself. So I'll let him talk about that. But it's just I thought a different perspective from behind the scenes stuff. A lot of it's funny. We should do a day in the life of Angel Martinez behind the scenes stuff. That would take up 2 weeks of a Netflix special. It really would.
Would.
Anyway, so he'll be joining us at 9:05 today. And then what else we got coming? You doing your show today? You have Martinez and Company coming up from 10 to noon.
It should be coming up today. I had 2 things that I had to get in over the weekend, which I didn't get the opportunity to. And everybody knows, because the longer the day is, the worse it becomes. So hopefully I'll get in it, or it might just be a little bit of a late start, 1 or 2. If not, then if I have to move it tomorrow, which I can because it's our network, but if I have to move it tomorrow, I'll move it tomorrow. It's just there's a couple of things that because of the weekend being so busy, I didn't have the opportunity to. And if I don't get it early on during the week, it just gets pushed back more and more. But there's 2 new shows that are coming up, which I won't reveal until I post them up there.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there's Let's Chat with Cat and Pat. They sent me a new one. So that new episode should be loaded up again today. So it's just, again, I use 72 hours any 24-hour day. And I think I'm up to now 86 in one day. It's just driving me bananas. But again, we do it because we love it. But yeah, it was nice that USF women now on a 3-game win streak, which is absolutely insane after getting hammered by, speaking of the Seminoles, game 1, match 1. But yeah, it was just
Florida State was defending national champions, right?
Yeah. It was soccer. And then they also a quick USF moment as well is that they're this spring for the first time ever they're bringing lacrosse to USF, so that should be pretty cool.
Oh, they didn't have lacrosse there until now?
Yep, till now.
Oh, I'm stunned. That's such a popular sport.
Is.
It really is. They're such great athletes, the guys and the girls. Outstanding. So to recap everything in the NFL, I'm not going to recap everything, all the stuff, but for my New England listeners, last night the Commanders, they beat the Patriots 20-10. It didn't. Who cares about that? Nobody really got hurt. The big question is Drake May, who has looked the best in camp. There's no question. He has looked the best in camp for the Patriots. I think they're going to have a tough decision to make because of the offensive line. There's no question. I think everybody agrees that has seen him play, that he's been the best quarterback in camp. But do you want to put him behind this offensive line, which is still trying to find its own? You saw Drake May did an unbelievable job last night, stepping up in the pocket, avoiding pressure. I mean, he is very well seasoned, and he made some sideline throws that I thought last couple of years Mac Jones would be able to make, and he couldn't do it. And Drake May fired him. And I just hate playing the I'm afraid game. I say start him. We can play all these games. So many people are so sensitive because this offensive line doesn't work, that offensive line. I still go back to Troy Aikman, how he survived. Drew Bledsoe survived. He did get dinged up a time or two during his rookie season. So do a lot of quarterbacks. But I'm at the point now, just start him because he gives you the best chance to win. I want my best players to play. I know the offensive line is a work in progress right now, but I still saw some good. I saw some good things last night, especially from the receiver standpoint as well. For the Patriots, there's some good routes that were run there. Osborne, who picked up from Minnesota, had 4 catches. Pop Douglas had 3 catches, and Polk had a great catch too. You could just see the progression. Polk had 2 catches for 33 yards. You can see the progression that has been made. There's no question. I've seen enough of Jacoby Brissett. He got sacked last night, had to leave the game in the first half. They said he could have come back and played if need be, but why take a chance? Patriots have a lot to assess. I still don't know what they're going to do officially. All I know is that Drake May has looked the best in camp, and not even close to anybody. Milton III's had his moments. He had a couple of them last night as well. But nevertheless, he was 5 of 17 for 78 yards. But he had a couple of nice throws. He had a couple of nice runs as well. He had 3 rushes for 23 yards and 1 that went for 20 yards. That was pretty cool. But they got a lot to discuss and a lot to, I just don't know why waiting. And I know they have a tough schedule coming right out of the gate. They have a tough schedule. They're at Cincinnati to open up, and then they're home against Seattle, and then at the Jets and at San Francisco. Those are 4 pretty good defenses right out of the gate. And then they're home against Miami. They have a very, very tough schedule, as does the entire AFC East. The AFC East and the NFC East both have incredible schedule this year. They play each other, and obviously tough divisions. David said, "What's up, Angel Martinez? Where you been?"
Okay. Dave Wallencheck does with Redline Radio LLC. As he talk about the Steelers, you will not get the most raw, probably entertainment when it comes to the Steelers. When it comes to Dave,
Well, I'd love to hear his thoughts on that mess. And I don't care what Mike Tomlin, that is a mess over there for a team that is, I mean, right now, I'm sorry, I'm picking the Steelers last. And by last, I don't mean 4-13 or anything like that. I just think they're in a tough spot. And I'm telling you, the Russell Westbrook, Justin Fields thing, that shit doesn't work. It does not work. And it's only going to create disharmony for that organization. So I'd love to hear him how he feels about it. But Russell Westbrook's definitely going to start for them to begin the season. I don't necessarily know that's a good thing. He says Steelers have no quarterback. No, they got two. They got two. You just don't know. They don't have a real QB1. So I'd love, it'd be great. I want to try to get a friend of mine on from Pittsburgh this week anyway and discuss, because it's been one of the most intriguing stories all year in the NFL, right? I mean, it really has. David said this is on Tomlin. Well, it's also on the GM. I mean, look, they're the ones that brought in Justin Fields. I just think in this type of situation, it does not work out. It usually doesn't. Back in the day, you remember, Angel, I mean, Strock and Woodley from Miami, that kind of work. They ding-donged off each other a little bit. Don Shula got the best out of both of them. They got to a Super Bowl. They got pounded by Washington that year, but they still, he got there. It was Flutie and what's his name back in Buffalo. That was a freaking mess. And then that led to, that was the same year, I believe, the Miracle in Tennessee, the throwing across the field and all that stuff. And the Titans reached the Super Bowl. By the way, I just saw the documentary over the weekend about Steve McNair and the death and girlfriend and all that stuff. Wow. Riveting stuff. Excellent on Netflix if you can see it. Such a shame. And some good interviews there. David said the Steelers should have fired Tomlin last year. Look, they've only had 3 coaches, right? Really, in the last 40 years, they've only had 3 coaches. He still finished over 500 last year. I mean, he got a lot out of that team, what he could, considering what he had to go through. But I think this is something. It just doesn't work out in the NFL. You have 2 quarterbacks like that. Russell Wilson, for me, I'm starting Justin Fields, but Russell Westbrook's going to start. I don't know how many games he's going to play. I don't know how many games he's going to be able to play, but we'll see. And just going over all the scores from the weekend, the Titans over the Saints, 30-27. Oh, this was a great play, Angel. If we could, before we go to break, and then I'll recap everything again. This was one of the plays of the day, of the weekend. If you scroll down to Ari Meroff, it's the third story down. Here is a great play from Samson Nacua, Puka's brother. Almost pulled a Chris Davis. Remember Auburn versus Alabama not too long ago? Well, not a little while ago, but he almost pulled a Chris Davis. Yesterday. This was great.
Does he have enough? Not this time. It's going to be returned. It is going to be returned.
I'm not seeing it, Angel.
Don't know why you're not seeing it. It's up there, but let me switch back and forth, and then maybe it'll come up for you. But it should have been coming up for you because it was up on the screen. But
yep, there it is. Okay,
right.
Does he have enough? Not this time. It's going to be returned. It is going to be returned. And coming around the corner. Nacua breaks tackles. Can he make it to the sideline? He's got a chance. Can he beat the lineman? Will he get there?
Oh, don't tell me he stepped out on the 2.
He's out. It looks like he's out of the 3.
Don't tell me he stepped out on the 3-yard line. Really on the field as the runner stepped out of bounds.
What a play, though, man. Almost Chris Davis, remnants of that. The Titans, they'll go on to win 30-27. Broncos over the Cardinals, 38-22. Zach Wilson had a hell of a weekend. Maybe the best of his ever NFL career. 251 yards and a couple of touchdowns there against a bunch of nobodies playing for the Cardinals. As I said, Commanders beat the Patriots 20-10. Packers over the Ravens 30-7. Panthers over the Bills 31-26. Texans over the Rams in a thriller, 17-15. Vikings got by the Eagles, 26-3. You had your quarterback played the most was Tanner McKee out of Stanford, second-year kid out of Stanford, who I don't think will be on the team in 2 days, but he played anyway. The Lions beat the Steelers 24-17. Again, in this one, you had Allen that was playing. Fields was 3 for 4 for 40 yards, and then you had Plumlee and Russell didn't play, and Hooker only played for Detroit and Jake Fromm as well. So, but Detroit wins 24-17. Buccaneers beat the Dolphins 24-14, and that one Kyle Trask continued to have a pretty good camp. 141 yards and a couple of touchdowns for the Buccaneers. The 49ers and Raiders played to a magnificent 24-24 tie. And they had one of those. They had I don't know if you saw the last play of that game, Angel. It was reminiscent of Stanford Cal back in the day, trying to do all the laterals and all that stuff. They almost pulled it off. They got down to like at the 4-yard line, almost pulled it off. That game ended in a tie. Indy over the Bengals 27-14. Bears over the Chiefs, 34-21. Again, and that was it. So there's your NFL update for now. David said, "Come on, I hate when the media gives him a pass because he's not in the regular season. He's not won a playoff game." Well, yeah, that's the local media up there. I think that's come up on a few shows on this show. I think there are, for some reason, the local media in Pittsburgh does give him a pass because he's never had a losing season. So does he deserve a little latitude? Yeah, I mean, we haven't played a game yet, so let's see. But I do think that situation in Pittsburgh is a highly volatile one. It could be. It's the kind of stuff that splits teams apart. May take a month, but it also depends on stuff that we don't see every day in practice that he does see. And if players are seeing it, and they say, like, just for instance, Justin Fields is having way better practices than Russell is, and then you're still going to go to Russell. I mean, it doesn't sit well with the players. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in Pittsburgh, but it's going to be interesting. A lot of interesting quarterback situations in the NFL. Pittsburgh is one of them. New England is certainly one of them. But Pittsburgh is expected, they're a better team than the Patriots. There's no doubt about that. But New England, I say, go with Drake May. I know the offensive line. We can do this all day long. And I just think that some of the people covering this team don't remember, years past what has happened in the NFL. Or maybe then you get those that say, well, the NFL has changed, so this, that, blah. Look, just stick them out. Let's go. Let's just do it. He gives you the best chance to win. That's all I care about. Yep. What players on any team give you the best chance to win? And for me, it's Drake May. So, all right, quick break. David says to go get Tannehill. Yeah, that's been discussed. He's still out there. Right, he'd be a good backup for a lot of teams. There's no question about that. I mean,
the Death Blue Star, as Dave and I, when we're on his show on Sundays. I'll get together with Dave because he'll tell you exactly the way it is. But I call the Dallas Cowboys the Death Blue Star because I can't freaking stand them. I think it's the most boisterous that I get when I'm with Dave and his crew. But yeah, I can't stand freaking Dallas.
Well, they got their own. Dallas has their own issues, and like I said, I think they're taking a step back. So we'll see.
That is the name of his team, Steel City Renegades.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. Well, Dallas still with the Dak Prescott situation, the CeeDee Lamb situation, the Jerry Jones situation. That's going to be really, really interesting. Their first game in Cleveland, that is going to be a doozy coming up, and of course, the NFL will open up a week from this Thursday as well. Friday. The Eagles play on Friday. They open up Baltimore and Kansas City will open up on Thursday on NBC, and then the Eagles take on the Packers in Brazil on Friday, and then obviously everybody else will be on Sunday. So, looking forward to it. Week 0 is in the books in college football as well. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll show you how Field Yates got hurt in Bermuda. How he dislocated his shoulder. He's supposed to be back on the air today at ESPN. I texted him for his hospital bed. I texted him on Saturday when I found out about it because Adam Schefter and him, I mean, he's being ridiculed all over the place when you see how he dislocated his shoulder in Bermuda. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's all part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a marvelous Monday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
Yeah, it's back here at the Pete Shepherd Show on a magnificent Monday, is it not? Not for Florida State. Oh, too soon? No, it's not. And right away, I saw so many people get so defensive. I didn't tweet anything out. I thought Georgia Tech was going to cover. I really did. The first drive, I don't know how much of the game you got to see. First drive, Florida State marched down the field and looked like they were going to win by 50. They just absolutely tore up Georgia Tech, just running the ball. They didn't even throw it. Just ran it down their throats and scored. And then after that, Georgia Tech really tightened up on defense. I think the next 4 or 5 series, the Seminoles didn't advance the ball all that much. And Georgia Tech responded, by the way. They scored a touchdown immediately after. That was a hell of a game. Great way to start in Dublin for week 0. What an atmosphere. Just absolutely fantastic and so happy, which we'll get into. Give you a couple of the highlights. Sorry, Florida State fans. And then right away, they come out of the woodworks. Oh, we can still – and yes, they can still get to the playoff. But it is tough to lose this is a conference opener. This is huge. And now they have a short week, and then they play Boston College at home in Tallahassee on Saturday. And we'll have Meter on later this week, John Meter Perel. That's going to be a lot tougher game, I think, for them than they realize. But, I heard Mike Norvell walking up and down the field prior, mic'd up on ESPN, saying all the right things, but I don't know. I think I really think there are too many people just overestimating them. I think they ranked way too high at the beginning of the season. Miami should have been ranked higher. I don't care what happened last year or the year before. The Miami Hurricanes, I think, are going to be one hell of a team. I think they're better than Clemson and they're better than Florida State. And I think it'll all be proven. And I believe they will go to the Swamp this week and win in a tough battle. I think the Hurricanes, just their offensive line alone. I wish the Patriots had their offensive line, but they don't. But I think that Cam Ward and company, and I just think this is a year. If you look at Mario Cristobal's track record, even at Oregon, 3rd year, got it all together. They had a hell of a recruiting class last year. They have another one coming in great next year. But I think this is finally the year they had kind of pull it all together. I really had a lot of faith last year on Tyler Van Dyke, but good luck in Wisconsin with him. Good luck for your Wisconsin Badgers with him. But I do think Cam Ward is going to be the real deal. I think he'll be in the Heisman Trophy talk for most of the season. He's going to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the country. And we'll see. Huge test, which I love right out of the gate at the Swamp. I'm leaving Friday after the show and can't wait to get there. I'm really, really looking forward to it. More on that a little bit later on. Trevor Harris.
Coming up already this weekend?
What?
That's already coming up this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend's just week 1 in college football.
No, but I'm saying your road trip you guys were taking.
I'm leaving Friday after the show and going to Gainesville. The game is Saturday. And
that's what I mean. Like we've been talking about it for the longest, and it's amazing how quick it came up.
Oh yeah. Time flies when you're having fun. I can't wait. Big pre-party for all the Hurricane fans at Capone's, just so you know. In case, I know I'm not supposed to say it, I'm not going to say. There's a couple guys that are supposed to show up. Former players are going to show up. And also at the big tailgate party that is happening also at the Swamp, which I have it in my phone of exactly where it is. It's all going to be all Hurricane fans. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be hot as hell. That's okay. I found out our seats are about 8 rows or 10 rows in back of the Hurricanes bench between the 45 and 50 yard line. So going to be hot. no doubt about that. But who cares? It's. I've never been there to sit there with a bunch of friends and those type of seats. I'll take that every day of the week. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully my boys will win, and I believe they will. They're favored by 3 now. Line keeps going up. What does keep going up is people's temperature when you're watching the Patriots offensive line, as I said. I mean, this is – look, when I tell you got these numbers, the offensive line last night flagged. It was frustrating at times. Just stupid things like just not lined up right. Like this much. When you do this much off the line, inches. But, I mean, this is what they call. The offensive line was flagged 8 times in the first half. In the first half. For false starts, 8 times for false starts, holding or illegal formation. And then what's his name stepped on Drake May's foot. His shoe flew off, stepped on it so hard by Sidney Sow, the left guard. But he ended up completing the pass. He steps up and completes the pass there. But that's unacceptable, even for 2s and 3s. And the illegal formation really pisses me off because that's just stupid. That's just moving. Make sure you're online, and they will call it if you're that far off of that. But they're going to call it. It's just you got to be aware. I don't know how it's just not acceptable to me to have some. I mean, you're going to get a false start here or there in the preseason, in the regular season, of course. I mean, cadence, all that stuff. They're probably still learning. Drake was still learning that. He had there were a couple mishandles. Center exchanges in that game yesterday as well. Won by David Andrews didn't play, but Nick Leverett, I think, was in there. They had a tough time on a couple of exchanges that he had. But you can't have 8 freaking penalties in the first half. That's absolutely ridiculous. Offside, false starts, illegal formation. I can't stand it. I absolutely can't stand it. It should not happen that many times in one half in the preseason, even if it's a third preseason game and a lot of your backups are playing. That is frustrating as hell. So I understand the people. I understand some of the media members out there who don't want to play Drake May because of this pathetic offensive line or semi-pathetic. I'm not going to, when the starters are out there, look. But the thing is, as pathetic as it was, Drake May stepped up yesterday and made a bunch of great throws. He really did.
Didn't Jacoby Brissett get a little bit hurt?
Yeah, Jacoby came out of the game in the first half, like I was talking about. He got dinged up on the shoulder. They said he could have come back in if they needed him, but no reason to. It's an interesting decision the Patriots are going to have. It's a bad offensive line. It's a mediocre to bad offensive line. Last night was piss poor. Last night was piss poor. But who gives you the best chance to win? Drake, I'm always like, play the best players. Give them the best chance to win. I don't think you're going to have Drake May psychologically damaged. He knows what's going on. He knows that offensive line isn't great. He also can run pretty well. He's very athletic, so it's great to see that. I just think they're not going to win more than 4 or 5 games anyway, probably this season. But I want to see the development. I don't think just sending Jacoby Brissett out there, even though it's a very tough schedule out of the gate against some very good defenses. Look, what better way to learn? And people are like, oh, how's he going to make it? How's Aaron Rodgers going to make it against San Francisco? I'm not comparing anybody to Aaron Rodgers, but let's put Drake May out there. I've seen enough of Jacoby Brissett. I don't need to see him. I don't know, keeping Drake May, when are you going to start him? I mean, as I said, the schedule is very tough for the Patriots coming out of the gate. Home against at Cincinnati, home against Seattle, at the Jets, and then at San Francisco before they're home against Miami and home against Houston. I mean, that is a really tough start out of the gate. So when do you want to put him in? You want to have Jacoby Brissett go out there the first against some really good defenses in Cincinnati, Seattle, the Jets, and San Fran, and then what? You're going to start him, then start Drake May at home against Miami and Houston in back-to-back weeks, and then have to go to Jacksonville, and then home to the Jets and at Tennessee. I mean, it's a tough schedule for the Patriots. At Chicago, home against the Rams, at Miami, home against Indy. Then they get the bye. But I mean, I'm tired of the Jacoby Brissett. This is not like Aaron Rodgers and the situation he was in Green Bay with what's his name. We had to wait 3 years, and even the Alex White situation with Patrick Mahomes, that was a different situation too, because you had Alex Smith was a experienced quarterback, Pro Bowl-esque. The Patriots don't have that. And Jacoby Brissett, he's mediocre at best, and he's not been the best quarterback in camp. He just hasn't. So put Drake May out there. Look, I know it's a risk, but hey, it's football. You're going to take risks every game. It is a risk, but I have faith in him that he will do the right thing when it needs to be done. Yeah, he's going to get sacked a few times. So are a lot of other quarterbacks. It's the way the NFL is. I just don't think sticking out Jacoby Brissett for 4 games out there and watching Drake May on the bench and have them, I could just picture the third and longs right now for Jacoby Brissett. And I've seen enough. I've had it. I've seen enough of this. It's just a question. We know the offensive line is going to be mediocre to bad initially to start the first month of the season. And I still say you have a better chance to win with Drake May than you do with Jacoby Brissett. But we'll find out this week. Or not, this doesn't have to be decision made this week. A lot of cuts will be made this week. But we'll find out in the next few days. I'm sure they're going to make some sort of announcement of who's going to be the starter. My gut feeling is it's still going to be Jacoby Brissett. I won't like it, but that's my gut feeling. It's still going to be him because of the way if the offensive line was just mediocre to decent, there would be no question Drake May would be starting. But I'm sure the Patriots media and the team may feel that the best way to develop Drake May is to have him watch for 3 or 4 more games and develop and practice more. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I think your best players should play. I've always felt that way. Let me see. All right. Thanks for following us here on the Coastal Sports Network video platform. And speaking of that, Angel, if we could scroll down, I promise you Field Yates, and Field Yates you shall have. It's a couple down after the Deion Sanders one. It's Adam Schefter has it. And we'll show you how Field Yates in Bermuda damaged himself, had to go on IR, had to go to the hospital, had to have some sort of a procedure because he dislocated his shoulder. And we will show you this video right here. Field Yates, my buddy, good friend, best hair in all media, and this horrific event in Bermuda. Watch this.
All the way through the tackle. Yeah!
Good, that hurt.
Huh? That hurt. Yeah, it did hurt. That's pretty.
Bad injury?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Do we go up and see somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoulder. You all right?
Hold on. Yep. We'll walk with you up there. Shoulder. Have to separate.
Angel, if you could click on right underneath that, that's Adam Schefter's post, and you'll see Field lying on the beach, and then you see him in the hospital. If you click on right there, yep. So people can see that's Field lying on the beach, and then I texted him shortly after that post was out there. You get back to me like 5 minutes. I go, you maniac. So that was all because they were all. I don't know exactly what you had to do. He was engaging in an activity in determining the draft order of his fantasy football league and the ultimate draft weekend in the Bahamas. So he dislocated his shoulder. The injury resulted in a brief hospitalization, but Field now has been discharged. He's aiming to be ready for opening day. I think he's supposed to be back on the air today for his fantasy football show, I believe.
So was that before he was in mid-season form?
I mean, Phil's a good show. It happens.
Yeah.
You're trying to determine. And of course, afterwards, he had a funny tweet. He said, let's see. He had a funny, it said, worst pain of my life. However, many on the beach were calling me the Lawrence Taylor of beach football. More importantly, he says that Stefania Bell at ESPN is a hero. She is the injury analyst and physical therapist. I guess she happened to be there. Full story coming. Okay, so this morning, right after the show at 10 o'clock, this show, he's going to come on. Full story coming up on Fantasy Focus on Monday at 10 a.m., which will be on, I think, on ESPN too. So I will just going to, he's never going to live this down for me. There's no question about it. The Lawrence Taylor of Bermuda. He also said he ended up getting the first pick in the draft. I don't know who he's taking. I'm going to assume it's McCaffrey, but a lot of people with their fantasy football drafts this week as well. So that's a lot of fun. A lot of money exchanging hands, a lot of money.
To me, it's crazy how there's some people that are having all kinds of like 6-hour conferences, 8-hour conferences. Jesus, like how in depth do you guys get? It's fantasy freaking football.
Oh, but it's big. A lot of it's big money on the line. A lot of people, it's big business. Now, I think this should be. It's almost like Tim says, "Pee on it, take the pain away." On field, no, that's for a jellyfish sting. Yeah. That would be not good. Somebody peeing on Phil Yates' shoulder. No, that would not be good. But and that'd be disturbing too. But what were we talking? What did you just say, Angel?
Fantasy football, the money.
Oh yeah. I mean, depending on this, the first round should go by like that. It really should.
Right.
And I know, stealing other people's, and there's all that philosophy of running backs versus quarterbacks and this, that, and the other thing. It's the later round. I did this a few years ago. I've done about 5 of these things, and they're all way, way, way too long. Way, way, way too long. After like the second round, it gets ridiculous. First 2 rounds go by fairly quickly. Everybody's having cocktails and hors d'oeuvres. Usually these things are done sometimes at people's houses, but a lot of times it's at a bar, sports bar, or something like that. And it gets ridiculous after the second round. That's why I don't do it anymore. I'd rather just go with FanDuel or DraftKings. I wait till Sunday. I wait till I put on ESPN or NFL Network early in the morning, find out the injury list, and then make my decision from there. Especially regarding defenses and field goal kickers and all that stuff and whatever. I just wait. I can't handle. You have to have a lot of time on your hands, I think, to go through the draft wire and all that nonsense and to see keeping up with who's been not the draft wire, the injured list, and who's been waived or released, and then you have to take into consideration all the bye weeks and if your players are not playing or not. It's just too much. Just give me, and God bless all of you who do it, and they take it. I have good friends that take it really, really seriously. My good friend Brian Bruno, he's in 3 or 4 really good leagues, and they take it extremely serious. I take it serious on Sundays, and I put my 25-cent team in, Angel, hoping I will hit for that $100,000 someday. But I do a bunch of like 25-cent, 50-cent dollar thing. That's the beauty of that. But you got a lot of guys that are putting up $1,000 or more between 5 or 6 guys, and they split the payout evenly. And God forbid your team finishes in last place, then all hell breaks loose. Then you're going to get hazed, made fun of. You have to wear other people's shirts or your wife's clothes to games or something like that. It's really become incredible, the punishment that happens to the teams that finish dead last in their league. Worse than what hazing used to be in college.
I think the other thing too is where you have some people like if your team is coming close to the making the playoffs. Now I'm referring this back to Philly, where some of these guys used to be like, all right, you have to buy me like a steak at whatever.
Blue Chris or whatever, Capital Grill, whatever.
Like, Jesus, you guys, seriously? It's like, oh, dude, I need that friggin' player. So if they want a good friggin' dinner, they'll end up doing it. And then these guys will end up doing like, so you're literally going to spend basically $400 on a steak dinner just so you can get into the playoffs. So you guys are insane.
Yeah. Well, it's big business. It's big business. Before we go to break, Angel, we can scroll down on my Twitter page. First story down, I just tweeted it out. In case you missed it, still great to see Mike Tirico. Chris Collinsworth, who's sort of grown on me over the years. I didn't really like him at first. Mike's terrific, play-by-play. But here's the opening night, last night on Sunday Night Football on NBC. It's just good to see, we're so close to getting back to the regular season.
Thanks for having us in. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
Another football season here. Just 11 days till the opener, and 11 nights we'll be in Kansas City. Yep. Watch the champs take on Baltimore. This is the final preseason game. Chris, a couple of franchises that are storied franchises, but they need to write a new story. Both won 4 games last year. Both have new head coaches, new general managers, new quarterbacks. Let me start with the Pats, because for the first time in a quarter century, Bill Belichick's not on that sideline anymore. It's Gerard Mayo. What's your impression of the Pats?
Well, first of all, the Patriots, they're in search of offense. They averaged under 14 points a game a season ago, and that just is not going to get it done. You bring in Drake May, 3rd overall pick. You talked about him, and he has talent, but he's not even 22 years old yet. They would love to have him sit and watch and learn. If he performs like he has in the past few weeks, he might be the starting quarterback on opening day.
We're going to see him tonight. Washington is sitting most of their starters. Dan Quinn's the new coach. This feels like less of a rebuild in Washington than it is for the Patriots.
Well, and you assume that Dan Quinn's going to be able to come in here and fix the defense that was dead last a season ago. They were not good at all. And it doesn't hurt if you bring in the Heisman Trophy winner, right? Jaden Daniels has simply dazzled since he's gotten to Washington. And, Mike, I have to say, I think he is going to be a superstar in this league.
We'll talk a lot about him tonight. We've got 7.
Yeah, so, again, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, 2 rookies. They're starting for their respective teams in not ideal situations. And certainly Bo Nix in Denver, you can make a case that team they're going to struggle to win 6 games, I think, as well. But Bo Nix, I think, is the real deal. I think Jaden Daniels is the real deal. And I think Drake May is the real deal. So let's go. Let's get them in there. They probably won't. But I hope they do. Tim says, before we go to break, my big problem is deciding who to start, Mahomes or Prescott. An excellent observation, Tim. And I'll tell you why. And this is where you fantasy football players out there, especially this week, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Brendan Ayuk, all out there, all not signed. Everybody keeps saying that all these deals are going to be in place before the start of the season, and all 3 very well may be. But nevertheless, it does put it's got to be tough for you serious fantasy football players, because what do you do? And I'm with you, Tim, on that one. Look, if CeeDee Lamb is playing, then I think you probably start Dak Prescott. It's always tough not to start Mahomes. I get it. But the fact that you got both of them on your team, if that's true, how'd you get both of them on your team? Interesting. But, Kansas City's going to be home against Baltimore opening night. Remember, they lost to Detroit last year on opening night. The Chiefs did. And what was that? Was it 21-20? 24-23? I forget the score last year. I would probably, Dak Prescott, if CeeDee Lamb is there, have better fantasy numbers against Cleveland on the road. I'd probably go with that. Cleveland's got a tough defense as well, but I don't know where Dak Prescott, again, he's going to be fine. He's going to be the highest paid player by far in the history of the NFL when this is all said and done. So, but it's a question of CeeDee Lamb. Will he be there in time for game 1? Really, really interesting. And certainly for the other fantasy people as well. Lamb, Jamar Chase, and Brandon Ayuk, where are they going to be? They are not signed yet. All these stories keep floating out there for the last month. Yeah, they're going to get it done. The Steelers are going to get it done with them. Or San Fran's got the long-term contract in place. Yeah, he's going to be back with the 49ers. Jamar Chase, yeah, eventually he'll sign with Cincinnati and get that done. We'll have Mike Petraglia on this week as well, I promise, who covers the Bengals out there. Interesting story, because they're the ones that the Bengals are playing the Patriots opening night. Angel, you going to go to Brazil for the Eagles opening game in Green Bay?
Yeah, I have my ticket, and my bags are already packed and everything else. So doing a live shoot from there. And Jen and I, we're going to hang out. Nick, I told him, we'll plant some flowers and some trees out there in Brazil. So, yeah, we're going to have everything just loaded up, ready to go.
All right. When we come back, we'll go around the NFL a little bit, some of the camps and some of the highlights from games over the weekend as well. We'll also have the Red Sox report coming up by Moynihan Lumber, presented by Moynihan Lumber, coming up at 8:15. Trevor Harris, the Miami Hurricanes radio producer for Joe Zagacki and company, he's going to join us. Really interesting take for this kid about, producing stuff, big time football behind the scenes, what he has to go through And he also has a pretty good podcast himself that he does. So we'll get into all of that today. I got so many guests lined up for the rest of the week. Today was going to be a little slow. A lot of people can't come on Mondays because they're either traveling or getting back or blah, whatever it is. But in fact, my man Patrick Gilroy was not too far from me. He was in Sarasota over the weekend with Kat. I didn't get a chance to catch up with him. I ended up, I was on Fort Myers Beach on Saturday at Diamond Head at Cabanas and had an absolute ball. Just that place is just phenomenal for me. The people that work there are just great. They got a brand new menu there. Marcel, the general manager, is awesome. Just have a great staff, great food, great bands all the time, great music. And it was super low tide this week, or this past Saturday at Fort Myers Beach. I mean, you had to go out about even like 500-600 yards, Angel. The water was you still only waist deep. It was some wicked low tide. Water was better. You could actually, I hate this. God, it pisses me off. But people were actually swimming, and it actually looked good. It's amazing we have to talk about this in such a beautiful area of Florida and the country. But it's unfortunate that to get really super blue, crystal clear water, you have to go north, not quite to your place in Tampa, but about an hour, Sarasota and north, or you have to go on the East Coast, which who wants to do that? I can't tell you how many people that come from Miami or Fort Lauderdale every weekend to this part of the state, to Fort Myers, to Southwest Florida, just to get out of the Miami traffic and the prices they have to pay over there. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. Anyway, we digress. More NFL, more college football week 0 recap as well. Yeah, I'm going to play the last 2 highlights. I'm going to play the Georgia Tech tying touchdown. And then, of course, I'm going to play the game-winning field goal. Joe Tessitore had a phenomenal call at the end. We'll play it for you in case you missed it. All part of the Pete Shepherd Show here on a Monday in the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Eye on Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance?
Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Pete Shepherd Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Welcome back. It's hour number 2. Pete Shepherd Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. I am Pete. He is Angel Martinez, exec producer, host extraordinaire. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out across the Coastal Sports Network video platform. You can follow me on Twitter, X at PShep326, on Facebook, SR1029 The Game, SR1029thegame.com. All the info there, how to download the app. We're powered by Ion TV, Ion Tampa Bay. Powerful Jedi they are. CSN Florida, Rumble, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text the show 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Jay Flint says, here, Pete, hashtag LFG. And then my man, I appreciate. I don't know when you say LFG, what team you're referring to. I'm not sure. Do you know this person, Angel? I don't know. It's a New England person. That's fine. No, I'm glad you're in. And again, thanks everybody. And we got I know from last Thursday, Friday to today, got a whole bunch of new followers across the Coastal Sports Network. It's great because I know you guys are sick and tired of all the bullshit around New England sports talk radio. That is just people just don't want to. It's just not. You can be constructive criticism. You can do all that stuff. You got to have a little bit of fun, and we have a lot of fun on this show as well. It can't be all sitting there X's and O's. Google me. I don't have time to Google you.
When he's on X, I'll find out.
All right, yeah, find out for him, will you? In the meantime, before we get into total sports prep for NFL Sound, I do want to play one more video. My buddy Phil Perry, I'm going to try to get him on too. He's done a great job covering the Patriots over the years. But again, on this show, we like to show you more video if possible and show you as much video as we can. Angel, can you scroll? It's the first story down now. It's from NBC Sports, Boston's Patriots coverage. Phil Perry does a great job. He's usually paired with Tom E. Curran. Sometimes I think they're Siamese twins joined at the hip. But no, this is Phil's assessment after weighing in on the offensive line, which obviously was disastrous. But here's how it sounded last night after the game. Do you see it, Angel? It's the first one not under the mic. It's the first one under the show.
Oh, hold on. Let me refresh.
Yep, that's it. There's PP. Phil Perry.
Right.
Yep.
Let me go back here and then I'll find out about this other person here. So here we go.
All right.
It's ugly. It's obvious now. It's clear and obvious that this is a problem. It's a massive problem. And, this is the same offensive line that Elliot Wolf came to the podium, came to the microphone before practice the other day and said he was excited about this group. And he felt like they were still, in the process of just figuring out that top five, but he seemed confident in what they had there. And maybe part of him can't say anything else, right? Because it's his guys. It's his unit. It's the group that he put together. And he doesn't want to throw these guys under the bus maybe before they have to play real games for him. But this is such a clear and obvious problem. And maybe it gets cleaned up a little bit with David Andrews out there as opposed to Nick Leverett. So the snaps are better. The protection calls, you would think, are better because the center controls those in this system. But David Andrews ain't a panacea for what ails this offensive line right now. They've got problems all up and down. We haven't even mentioned the fact that, all those problems came against Washington backups tonight. Backups. If they had played their starting defensive line, who knows what would have happened out there today. And B, one of their better offensive linemen this summer, Sidy Sow, had to leave the game with an injured ankle and was ruled out actually pretty quickly, which is typically a not so great sign. I don't know what that means in the preseason. In the regular season, you get ruled out that quickly. That means you're usually going to be out for a while.
All right, that's Phil Perry with not the so great news, but very honest and forthright. And everything he said is 100% true. And Sidy Sow is also the one that stepped on Drake May's foot and caused his shoe to fly off, even though Drake May ended up making the pass last night. But certainly the Patriots, not all of their what will be their offensive starters on the offensive line were out there last night, including David Andrews were not out there. But nevertheless, it's still a good point. The backups of Washington and the stupidity of the Patriots offensive line to have that many turnovers. I mean, that many false starts, illegal formations, holes, 8 of them in the first half. It's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. Jerry says Patriots haven't played many quick throws to help the poor offensive line problems. May has quick release the need to Edelman type slot guy. Well, no, I mean, I do think there were a couple times last night where they did do that. I mean, they're not going to reveal everything. They understand. They understand their weaknesses. They're going to try to put Drake May whenever he gets in there. I hope it's week 1, but it probably won't be. It should be, but it probably won't be. They're going to try. He's not going to just throw, bombs down the stretch or anything like that. They're going to try to get him going, make him feel comfortable. They're going to have to do a lot of screens and short passes because that offensive line, until they start to gel, which is probably going to take a month, at least a month. I hope less, but at least a month. They're not. Once he's out there, you got to try to put him in a position where he's not going to get killed. Now, I think he did a good job last night, despite everything, shoe coming off and everything else. That guy stepped up in the pocket 3 or 4 times last night and made completions. And he threw some sideline throws that Mac Jones could not make, I should say, when he was here. And even though Mac's in camp, and I'm happy for him in Jacksonville, the situation is, we'll see. It is a tough 4 games out of the chute. Really a tough 6 games for the Patriots out of the chute. We'll wait and see. It says, great job on the WEIMS. Yeah, look, it's like that's like batting practice. But I think Bill Sparrows pointed out very succinctly the other day when they had him on Friday. And it's something I said too. Whoever's in charge over there, whether it's Mike, it doesn't matter. They're in bankruptcy court. They can't do a whole hell of a lot as far as paying salaries or that. All they can do is move the chairs on the deck around. That's all they can do, and fire people. And there'll be more cuts coming over there, not just at that station, but through all of Radio, Odyssey, and other companies as well. But you got to understand, when you're in bankruptcy court, what is that? Can I get those pop-up messages sometimes?
Yep.
As even though you've been on the site for 20 minutes, and I've used this site my entire life, something will come on and say, this site isn't secure. Get out of my face. I'd like to be able to zap some of the people, especially the website is not suspicious, you jacks. Stop messing with me. Oh, go back anyway. It's not suspicious. I question your ethics, whoever's doing that to me. Anyway, where was I? Before I was really interrupted. It's always the virus protection people that you don't renew with. And I don't know how they keep trying to fight their way back into your lives as far as that goes. Once you end it, it's just amazing. Do you get that, Angel? When you break off with a certain virus company, they still want you, even if you've cut it off with like 3 or 4, you still get, then they start with, we'll give you 20% off, 30% off, 40%. No, I have my virus protection. I don't need it.
Nope. Yeah.
I don't need 3 or 4 of them. I don't.
Nope. I got rid of mine because I don't need it. It came with the original computer I had bought a couple years ago, but I take away from it, and if you don't go back in your program files, it'll still keep coming up until until you get rid of it altogether. But yeah, it's a crapshoot, and I always love that. Same way if you leave another company, it's like, oh, why'd you leave? We'll give you 15% off. Okay, well I left because guys didn't want to give me anything off when I was there.
Yeah, it's always I say that back in the day buying Sports Illustrated, all those years, I never got anything. Because you were never grandfathered in. I never got a little football phone. I never got any of the little trinkets that everybody got just for rejoining, whether it be a video or some sort of magazine supplement, whatever it was. The people who were loyal for decades got nothing. But anybody who just signed up, for a subscription, they get all this stuff. Says Pete, you guys impacted by the Bally's Diamond sports situation in Florida. Big issue here in Michigan. Used to be, not right now. Now, the problem is down here is that, it's because I have YouTube TV, we don't get the Rays are on Bally. So the problem is I have YouTube TV, but I have the baseball package, which I get through Amazon, and I can't get Tampa Bay games or Miami Marlin games here. Not that I want to watch either one of those teams because I usually don't. But when I wanted to, if the Red Sox were playing them and stuff, I couldn't do it. If they were on ESPN Plus, different story. Which I have also, I could switch over to that. But yeah, it's been a pain in the ass. That situation has been a pain in the ass for many states. There's no question about it. Angel, if I may, because it's time now for the Red Sox report. We'll get to football in a second. But if I impose upon you to scroll down to baseball, the Red Sox and the beginning of the end. This is it. Blowing a 4-0 lead yesterday. Let me know when you have it. We'll play the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to start, Angel, with cut number 4. Tristan Casas solo shot in the bottom of the first got the Red Sox going in this one as they tried to avoid the 3-game sweep to the Diamondbacks at Fenway, which they just have not played well there overall this year.
2-2 to Tristan. High fly ball that's driven deep. Way back to right. Sailing. She is gone. Tristan Casas, number 8. That Red Sox home run brought to you by Audi. Visit your New England Audi dealer today.
All right.
Let's go to cut number 3. Red Sox added to that lead. Again, NESN, bottom of the 4th inning, courtesy of Rafael Devers.
A year ago. High drive center field. McCarthy backing up, turning around. She's gone. Number 200 for Rafi Devers. Over the center field wall at Fenway Park. A 3-run shot here against Arizona.
All right, thanks to Dave O'Brien. NESN, a 4-0 lead, right? I think Rafi Devers became the youngest Red Sox player to hit 200 home runs in that amount at that young of an age. Meanwhile, though, that was it just didn't pan out. As we move on to the cut number, let's go to cut number 1. Eugenio Suarez, the big go-ahead 3-run homer in the top of the 6th,
and a chance for the guy who's hit more RBIs than any player in baseball since July 1st, Gino Suarez.
Gino sends one out to left. Suarez at Fenway. And he's done it again. Hey, Eugenio Suarez. We know it's Gino. And it's 6-4 Diamondbacks. They were down 4-zip, and they come back in the 5th and 6th. Since July 1st, no player in the major leagues has more runs batted in.
Okay. That made it a 6-4 Arizona, and then they piled on, also not piled on, but at the top of the ninth, they extended their lead, courtesy of the pesky pole.
Geraldo Perdomo going to be the leadoff hitter here. Perdomo toward the pesky pole, and he hit the pole. It's gone. Geraldo Perdomo off the pesky pole. That's his third. It's an insurance run for the Diamondbacks. Well, it took almost 3 full games. Somebody finally hit one off that thing.
We've had a couple of close foul balls, but Jerry finally takes advantage.
All right, thanks to Arid, A-R-I-D, right there. Later on, you don't have to play it. Tyler O'Neill also hit one that just barely made it inside the pesky pole. And people, a lot of times you see the pesky pole. If the ball hooks around it and goes deep into the stand, that's a big time shot. But when it hits just the pesky pole itself, that's only, it says 300. It used to say it's only 299 feet to the pole. I mean, Fenway is also the toughest right field. It has been forever in baseball because it jets out immediately. But just if you're lucky enough to get to the pole, that's only about 299 feet. It doesn't happen very often in this day and age. If somebody's going to blast when they blast one around the pole, but that's a pretty deep shot. But if there's a certain time of year where you get those dinky hits, those dinky home runs, and that's one of them. Didn't matter. Red Sox blew a 4-0 lead. Eugenio Suarez hit the go-ahead 3-run homer over the Green Monster, and the Arizona Diamondbacks rallied past the Red Sox. They win 7-5. They're holding the National League's top wild card spot. They're 75-56. They've reached a season high 19 games over 500. They are 34, or they won. They're 34-12, 34-13, I should say, in 47 games. Rafael Devers, as I said, he hit his 200th career homer, a 3-run shot to become the 11th and youngest player in Red Sox history, as I said, to reach that mark as well. Tanner Houck was roughed up a little bit again. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. Walked 4, struck out 2. He's now 8-9. His ERA is now the highest, I believe, all year at 3.23. So up next, the Red Sox. Nick Pivetta will go tonight. 4.7 ERA, 5-8 record. He'll go today in the first of 2 games at Fenway, finding a suspended contest halted by rain with the Blue Jays. At bat in the second inning on June 26th. So that's what's going on today. The Red Sox Report, as always, is brought to you by Moynihan Lumber. Check out their complete line of Anderson windows and doors at any of their 3 locations in Beverly and North Reading, Massachusetts, and Plastow, New Hampshire. All right, Angel. Let's, if we could, let's get back to the NFL. And, as I scroll, and some stuff that's gone on this weekend here for some players. Let's start right with cut number 1. Sean Payton on infusing veteran players as a way to get them some trade stock to further build their roster. This is from the Broncos webpage.
Sean, kind of a more philosophical question. When you have veterans that you may be releasing in any given year, do you try to get those guys, noticed sooner so that either the trade or so they can hit the street and maybe have a chance to get on someone's 53? Does that factor in?
I don't think today, tonight, tomorrow morning change. The league's plenty smart enough to it's never easy, this process, and it is what it is. I've been in it myself a number of times, formerly as a player. I can remember being real naive up in one team thinking they were going to start me, and I went in and I got cut and I couldn't believe it. I think that, look, you have the 53, you have the practice squad, there's paths for decisions, and part of it is managing the roster. So George and I have met the better part of the last couple of weeks, each week relative to where we're at with certain decisions. I think we have a good handle on it.
All right. Meanwhile, as I said, Zach Wilson did not look like the Jets' Zach Wilson. Now there's a lot of backups playing, but Zach Wilson had a pretty good game over the weekend. Here's cut number 2, Angel. 46-yard touchdown pass to Brandon Johnson in the fourth quarter.
Going to have to come out firing without some key pieces. Wilson's taking a deep shot. Johnson's wide open. Johnson's touchdown! Brandon Johnson. A 46-yard touchdown from Zach.
That was quick.
Yeah, it was. And after the next cut, let's hear from Zach Wilson on his fresh start since leaving the Jets. Suck.
How good is it for you, has it been, to get through OTAs and to get through the preseason and put a little distance behind those 3 years in New York with a new start?
Yeah, it's been great so far. I'm loving it out here. Just each day trying to just improve and get better. I feel like from OTAs to where I'm at right now, I've continued to just try and improve every single day, and still a lot of work to do, but I'm just going to keep trying to do that.
Yeah, he looked very good. In that game, he did look a lot more comfortable than he ever did for the Jets. Meanwhile, let's go to cut number 4. Chris Collinsworth. This is a great play by Drake May. This is when I told you that So stepped on his foot and shoe went flying.
I think that's the reason we've seen those two guys really jump front and center.
First down, May able to swing it out complete across the 25 to the 28 to JaMycal Hasty. I was trying to figure that was a shoe that came flying out, and it was his shoe.
How good is this guy? This guy's a living legend already.
Stop it.
Watch this. Gets his foot stepped on. By the backside, City So. There goes the shoot. Kick it off. No big deal. Let's just go ahead and throw this ball for a first down. What the heck, man? He's on a roll right now. Nobody wake him up.
And thanks to NBC for that. And before that, the Denver Broncos webpage. And then let's scroll down to the next cut there. Drake May had an 18-yard touchdown pass to Kevin Harris in the first quarter.
But you got to win football games. This is pro football.
Pressure again. Fires. Getting out of the tackle. Kevin Harris to the end zone. And in for the touchdown. Kevin Harris made a man miss. And the third-year man out of South Carolina takes it to the end zone on a very nice drive executed by Drake May.
Yeah, he played very well again, thanks to NBC. After the game, Drake May on how comfortable he feels now since starting training camp.
Yeah, I think it's been awesome training camp. Not only to get to see our defense, but to mix in other defenses and going out there and playing and feeling like getting hit. I think we're getting there. I think it's been fun out there with some of the rooks. JP Mason plays tonight. I'm sitting over there in the corner. Just get some of the rookies together and. Finally, Layden was in at right guard, so just kind of molding, kind of finding our groove. So, it's been an awesome camp, and it's been tough too. And our rookie season's been long. We've been going at it, since before the draft. So, just looking forward to getting to see what the NFL season's like.
All right, thanks to Patriots.com for that one, and also the next cut, Angel, on page number 2 there. Gerard Mayo on his message to the team after last night's loss to Washington.
Look, thought the guys came out here and tried to compete. Anytime you have over 150 yards, that's just undisciplined football, and we just got to do a better job with that. My message to the team was, hey, look, they all count now. And so, go get your rehab and your preventative care and rest your minds, but it's time to go, and hopefully we're all on the same page going forward.
All right, let's go down. Let's scroll down a little bit to Washington to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut number 5 there. Jaden Daniels on the excitement from fans with the Washington Commanders. Can't wait to get back.
Because you told us the biggest surprise with this organization was the excitement of the fan base. Yeah. What have you experienced?
Oh, it's crazy out here. There's a lot of people out here showing love for the preseason game. You got people screaming, appreciate y'all. But I can't wait. I can't wait till September 15th to come out here and be able to play in front of these fans.
All right, we got more NFL sound coming your way. Actually, you know what? Let's continue with that. Let's get Josh Harris's interpretation, or on the renovations, Angel, the next cut after Jaden Daniels. Josh Harris on the renovations at Commander's Field.
Look, I'm very pumped to see the new everything, right? The new suites, the new mini marts, the frictionless marts. easier ingress and egress, all of it. New paint, and the Tunnel Club, all of it. New food. Although the mac and cheese was a little much for me today, I'm not gonna lie. But on the other hand, I also was wandering around planning next season's capital project. So I think we got more to do, and it really makes me a strange thing, right? Usually it's strange when I really get excited about fixing the place up for our fans and making it. I mean, as I said when we bought the team, bought the club, you're inviting people into your house, and you don't want to have an old couch, finishes that are crumbling and all that. So I think that I'm looking forward to continuing to make a lot of progress. Right now, I mean, obviously, now that the season's starting, it's all going to happen next year. We're going to get started next year now.
No one cares.
Okay, that's all well and good, Angel. Before we go to break, just scroll down so people don't think I'm making this up. It's the sixth down. Dov Kleiman. He can say all that bullshit, and I'm sure he's going to be a much better owner. The bar is very low. The Commander Stadium drinking prices. Check this out. It's not uncommon, except for maybe in Atlanta, where it's a lot cheaper, which I'll get to. Yeah, right there, Angel. Look at these prices. Bottled water, $5.99. Bottled soda, $6.99. Gatorade, $7.99. Premium canned cocktail, $15.49. Large domestic beer, $16.49. Regular craft beer, $16.99. Large premium beer, go for the Heineken, $17.49. And the spiked seltzer lemonade, $18.49. It is obscene. It is criminal. Yep. It is awful. We're going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back because I found right above that, Angel, right above that, this Twitter follower of mine, J-Force. We'll play it when we come back. It is how it should be. I'll give Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, a whole lot of credit for doing the right thing here. Most owners should follow suit here because it has gotten so out of control. And we'll play that for you when we come back. But what they're doing in Atlanta that makes it so affordable, at least. So you don't have to take out a second mortgage on your home for some of these prices. Pete Shepard Show will continue at 9:05 today. Trevor Harris, Hurricanes, the Miami Hurricanes radio producer, one of them for WQAM in Miami. We'll talk some behind-the-scenes stuff, what his day is like as we get ready for the big game between the Hurricanes and the Gators up at the Swamp coming up on Saturday at 3:30. And we're going to some other college football news as well. All part of the Pete Shepard Show here on a Monday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding.
Whoa!
Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo. Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You want the best in sports and entertainment?
You got it. Now, back to the Pete Shepherd Show.
All right, doing a bit more of a background check on. I remember now, Jay Planley chimed in earlier, and he was very tight with Tom Brady at Michigan, big time. So we're going to try to get him. We're going to try to get him on the show because even ESPN and Sports Illustrated did a story about him and how close he was to Tom back in the days at the University of Michigan. And still tight with him when he came to the Patriots. So interesting stuff. I'm going to ask him I have a couple of questions. Like I said, I tried to get him on when I was at ESPN Southwest Florida. I called Donnie's office, and Don wanted $293,000 for a weekly appearance for Tom for 20 minutes on our show. And I was like, oh, come on. I was like, can't you just tell him it's me? You know, I was there from the beginning, you know. No, didn't work. No, it's not like it was a WEIP. This is a whole different thing. Blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, fine. So I had his dad on a couple times in place of him on the show. He's been on this show before as well. But Jay's an interesting guy. So we'll definitely try to get him on if he wants to do it.
By the way, for those who we had mentioned, as you were talking about fantasy football, how big it is, and I remembered talking about this about 3 weeks ago, I believe also on a Monday. For those who like to visit a website, you guys can see it, sr1029thegame.com. Now, on the homepage, you guys will see an ESPN Pigskin Pick'em icon up there. If you click on that, you can join the weekly Pigskin Pick'em game that I posted up there for the group. You'll find it under CSN Florida. But if you click on it, you can become a member of it. It's not private. It's out to the public, to everybody. So if you guys want to join in, and it's just for fun every week, bragging rights, so we can have fun with it. And then at the end of the season, we'll figure out the best way, like, whether it's a team jersey, a team T-shirt, whatever, at the end of it, that we have to, the loser would have to wear for the playoffs or something to that nature. But we'll figure something out. But you go to goodness gracious, SR1029thegame.com. Right on the home landing page, you guys will see it says ESPN Pigskin Pick'em. Click on that, become part of the group there, and let's have some fun here during the NFL season. I don't do fantasy football because obviously there's too much stuff that I have to do behind the scenes. And I have to go to Pete's, God damn it, what do I call it? Your speakeasy. I have to go down there and make sure his
the tiki bar, yeah.
Yeah. So lots of stuff going on. And hopefully in about 2 weeks or so, probably in 2 weeks, I'll be back down there in Fort Myers with Pete as we will do a morning show down there at Jimmy the Beef Guy. So we can just take all the smells in, which I'm dying for, and the eats, so we can do it on a Friday morning, have Jimmy on live with us.
Yeah, he's going to be live with us this Friday anyway. Again, plugging some stuff. And new catering. So Jimmy the Beef Guy is awesome. 2 locations in Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Great stuff. The old style Chicago style meat sandwiches, sausages, and it's unbelievable. You got to check them out. Make sure you say Jardiniere. It's great. And it's so funny because those are some of the cooking shows I watch in my free time, because that's my relaxation therapy. Is when I don't have to watch anything. I like to cook, and I like to watch these cooking shows. It's so funny because celebrity chef Jeff Morrow, known as the Sandwich King, and he's on The Kitchen, and he does a lot of judging. He's on a lot of other shows. And I was just watching something yesterday, real quick, after the Little League game that was won by Lake Mary. Congratulations. And before the Patriots came on. So I had some time. So I'm watching. And he was so adamant, like Jimmy, because he's from Chicago too. Jeff Morris from Chicago. And, he was adamant. You do, say Jardiniere. And he made a homemade Jardiniere like Jimmy does at his place. And it was cool to hear him talk about it. You could tell that that Chicago thing is alive and real when it comes to Jardiniere. You better not say it any other way. Well, you shall be damned. No question about it.
Yeah.
Right. Here's what I was talking about earlier. We just showed you some of the outrageous. We heard Mr. Harris talk about all these improvements he's going to make with the stadium. Yeah, all that. And then he saw the ridiculous prices that are being at his stadium. But here's an interesting. Go ahead.
It's for a garbage stadium. That stadium absolutely sucked. The amount of money he's going to have to spend, you might have to blow it up and start all over again. The original Jet Ken Cook Stadium / FedEx Field, but it's a garbage place. And for those prices too, that's outrageous.
Well, you heard him try to defend himself as far as getting, but then he says all that, and then he's charging anywhere, $18 for drinks. It's ridiculous. Yep. J-Force, though, on Twitter, there's an interesting, this was back, he put this out over a month ago in July. But this is what, people and NFL owners should almost be mandatory to follow this of Arthur Blank, as if they don't have enough money already. But this is a really cool piece on why things are so expensive around the league and what Arthur Blank did to do at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to make sure he kept prices down.
Atlanta Falcons seemingly solved one of the NFL's biggest problems. So why aren't other teams following suit? See, before owner Arthur Blank opened Mercedes-Benz Stadium in 2017, he noted how the average rating by fans for NFL stadium food and beverage services was just 5 out of 10. This is because nearly every NFL team operates their concessions in the same way. They sell the rights to a third party, which is responsible for paying for goods, labor, equipment, and infrastructure. In return, they get full control over menus, prices, and staffing. Now, teams like this arrangement because of the predictable cost and guaranteed revenue. But as Arthur Blank describes, teams are really just exploiting their fans for a few extra dollars, as these third-party vendors typically come with higher prices, staffing shortages, and poor service. So when Blank opened Mercedes-Benz Stadium, his company assumed full control over the entire food and beverage department. And his first move, cut all the prices and increased the number of concession stands. It's why Mercedes-Benz Stadium is one of the only places in professional sport, you can still get a $2 hot dog, free refills on your soda, and $5 beers. Mercedes-Benz Stadium saw a 16% increase in per capita spending with its fans. But even more impressive is the fact that since fans now have more money to spend, merchandise sales rose 80% for both the Falcons and Atlanta United. You can read more about the impressive story of Arthur Blank and his SBJ Lifetime Achievement Award in the May 6th issue of Sports Business Journal.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. So why can't everybody do this? Why? I don't know. I mean, can you imagine going into a stadium nowadays and get a $2 hot dog? I'm not talking about minor league stadiums, but a major league football arena or any arena that has professional sports. But let's stick with football for now. And getting a $2 hot dog and a $5 beer, that's awesome. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else.
They had we'll get to Rick's comment here in a second, but so Arthur Blank came out, I want to say it was like 2 years ago, maybe 3, where he actually put out a survey. Like he wanted to hear back from the fans and thought what's a fair price? And that's good that he's actually doing so because again, listen, you can go to these venues, spend what you spend. I refuse. Even Debbie and I, we love going to Lightning games, but some of the prices turn out.
Oh, it's ridiculous! It's ridiculous. I mean, nobody would spend that. It's absolutely obscene. It's criminal, really. It really is. Yeah, I used to think about back when I was a kid how bad it was. But I mean, $8 for Gatorade, $6 for water. I mean, it's just, and unless you're good at sneaking stuff in, which is hard to do. Even water is hard to do. Yeah, but people have those binoculars, right? You can dump alcohol in the binoculars. There's ways of getting around. Right, you're really, really clever about it.
But you got to think though, Pete, like especially here in Florida, all the way up until October, you should not be charging $2 a bottle of water. You're still making a freaking profit no matter what. But to go for $6 a bottle of water, it's absolutely insane knowing that that's going to be the most go-to drink, especially if you're taking kids. You're not giving a kid a freaking $8 beer. You want to give them at least, $2 freaking water so they can have something while they're there at the venue. But no, they want to charge $6 for a freaking water and then $8 for a freaking soda pop. Like you're out of your mind.
And some places it's more for water too. And then if you don't want to drink it, you're not going to go out to the bubbler / drinking fountain. Who's going to stick in your face anywhere near that shit? I mean, you don't want stadium water coming out. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
You're not going to stick your face. And when are you going to go to the bathroom and cup your hands and ugh? I mean, you ever try stadium water at any venue?
Nope.
I haven't. Not in a long, long time.
Nope.
It's crazy.
Rick said FedEx sandwiches come with a sewage dressing.
Well, that's what they're trying to, if it's not sewage, then the stands are collapsing, and it almost took out,
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago.
Yipper.
That was unbelievable. Yep. I mean, really, he could have got really, really seriously hurt.
He could have.
All right, Andrew, I impose upon you once again, and I want to go to ESPN's page, go to NCAA football, and it's the first story, Georgia Tech, stunning number 10 Florida State. I have the audio of this, but the video's better. And I know while you're getting that set up, I will read the Total Sports Prep stuff, because for the latest best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. Staff combs through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sport kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them at info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all.
Right,
let me
know
know what
first.
Well, it should be Georgia Tech stuns number 10 Florida State. It's the game-winning field goal. It's 32-second cut. You see it? It's the first cut. You have to go to the NCAA football on the ESPN page. It's the first story.
All right. Of course, we've got to do the whole goofy commercial thing.
So I'll set it up. Well, let me know when you have it. Avery Boyd, Chase Lane, Malik Rutherford stepped in front of their Georgia Tech teammates who were passing around the Aer Lingus College Football Classic trophy and decided to let loose. It was outstanding. One dance fitting the moment, an Irish jig, absolutely. Aiden Burr made the 44-yard field goal that's coming up here. Joe Tessitore with a really good call at the end of the game on ESPN. Outstanding. Georgia Tech stuns Florida State in Ireland. This was absolutely fantastic, especially if you're a Canes fan. Here it is. Here's how it went down.
44 yards away to do it. He got it! He got it! And the Yellow Jackets did it! Upset in hand. They found themselves a pot of gold at the end of their Irish rainbow. Number 10 Florida State goes down in Dublin.
Oh, that's such a shame. That is such a shame, Florida State. Are you hearing my trumpet? Why am I not hearing that?
Yep, I can hear it.
Well, I don't know why I can't hear it.
I don't know. Heard it twice.
All right. Yeah, it deserves twice. In fact, they deserve a third one. 3 times a charm. Jamal Haynes ran for 75 yards, a couple of touchdowns for Georgia Tech. Haynes King threw for 146 yards, ran for 54. And, man, unbelievable. The Yellow Jackets able to control the line of scrimmage, accumulated 199 yards rushing. Ran the ball down Florida State's throat. Yes. Cannot tell you how happy I was. It was fantastic. So Florida State now, they were favored. The closing line was 10.5. I had Georgia Tech at 11.5, so it was a nice day. Really good. Ryan Fitzgerald had a 59-yard field goal for the Seminoles. That was a career long, second longest in school history, just before halftime. That tied the game at 14. And Fitzgerald had a 52-yarder earlier. But I'm telling you, man, this was a great game. Florida State ran the ball down Georgia Tech's throat on the opening drive, but Georgia Tech then responded and scored. And then they did a great job on defense. Mike Norvell, I mean, they were in shock. But there's a lot of people that thought this would be a very close game, including myself. So lots of Florida State fans there. Georgia Tech in the past, we know what happened against my Hurricanes last year with the brain cramp by Myra Cristobal not taking a knee. But they've been pretty good. Georgia Tech's been very good against top 25 teams. They knocked off 2 ranked ACC opponents at Miami and home against North Carolina last year. In 2022, they won games against ranked opponents at North Carolina and Pittsburgh. So these guys are in Florida State. The polls will come out. They're going to take a tumble. They're going to drop. Not out of the top 25, I don't think, but they're going to drop significantly. And my Hurricanes should move up. Not that it matters. Everything will take care of itself once everybody plays. Huge games coming up this weekend with Georgia and Clemson, Miami and Florida. Texas playing Notre Dame, or Texas A&M and Notre Dame. That's going to be a hell of a game. That finishes off the trilogy of ABC on Saturday. It's Clemson, Georgia, Miami at Florida, which I will be at, and then Texas A&M and Notre Dame. That's a great triple header on ABC. Don't need to go anywhere. I'm just happy. So Florida State will tumble in the next top 25 poll in the AP, which will be released after Week 1's games wrap up on September 3rd. So they won't get to wait another week for all this stuff to happen. So, as I said, Florida State will host Boston College next on September 2nd. Georgia Tech plays host to Georgia State on this weekend. Yeah, so the Florida State BC game, that's the lone game on that Monday night, Labor Day night. And that should be really interesting against a pretty good and improved under Billy O'Brien Boston College team, we think. We'll let Meter on this week to talk about it as well. He'll be taking the flight down to Tallahassee along with the rest of the team this week. But what a way to start Week 0! All the underdogs covered. All the underdogs covered. So, any comments? 727-858-6650. 727-858-6650 before we go to break, and then Trevor Harris is going to join us around 9:05. Angel, if you could, what else is coming up on the network today?
Let me scroll back up here because I lost my place here for a second. Just some updates that are coming up a little bit later on with the newest shows that are going to be added. So you guys will end up taking a look on SR1029thegame.com after Pete's show. So there's going to be some new additions here to the lineup. some of the shows that as the guys are starting to come back from vacation and stuff, it's going to be up there. Some other ones that were, for those who are new here, last year we had a couple of Tampa shows as far as the Bucks. So those who follow the Bucks, the Atlanta shows that are coming up. So just a lot of updating that's coming up later on. Rich is on the road today, so there will be no Drive with Q today. He'll be back on Wednesday, but he had a big boxing weekend, and they had some layover stuff that apparently they couldn't fit in the cards on Sunday, so they're continuing that today. So he's on the road for today. He'll be back on Wednesday, but yeah, that's about it. And then as I mentioned a little bit earlier before, if you guys want to join the Pigskin Pick'em, where you can just pick games for the week, all 16 games, and whoever has the best record at the end of the year will come up with something at the end of the season just to have fun with. Because those who know, I don't freaking bet, so I'm not putting any money up there unless people feel like donating, dollars. That's up to them. But I'm not making any. It's just all for fun, just for bragging rights. At the end of the season, we'll come up with something ridiculous.
Sounds good. Before we go to break, Angel, an interesting story over the weekend from the UK. Headline: Could you survive an alien invasion? I don't mean illegally. I mean, from up above, like an Independence Day invasion. A recent poll has revealed that around a third of UK residents believe they're unlikely to survive if hostile Martians invaded Earth. What's more, a third think they'd be lucky to survive more than 1 month, with just 1 in 10 feeling confident they'd survive more than 1 year. The survey of 2,000 people was conducted by Laird Realty, a company behind a new immersive experience based on Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds musical. I didn't know that was a thing. Those polled reveal the first things they do if Martians did indeed land on Earth tomorrow is find friends and family, 26%, find essential supplies, 20%, and run or hide, 18%. 1 in 10, Angel said they say hello. Others say they'd ask the Martians to take them back to their planet with them, 11%. Some 5% admit they get intimate with the nearest human. 4 in 10 say they'd have their children or their partner first in the event of a Martian invasion, followed by themselves at 33%. Andrew McGinnis, CEO of Laird Realty, said extraterrestrial life remains one of the world's biggest curiosities, so it's no wonder that Brits today are thinking about the possibility of them invading Earth. So despite 1/3 of the Brits at 33% saying they think about the Earth being invaded by Martians at least once a year, a whopping 6 in 10 reveal they feel unprepared for a hostile Martian invasion. I don't know if there's any way to prepare for that at all. Anyway, all right, quick break. Trevor Harris is going to join us next, producer for the Miami Hurricanes football team and basketball team, I think, too, as well. We'll get his take on behind the scenes. He's got a pretty good podcast as well. Good guy. You're going to like him. You're going to enjoy him. Coming up next here as hour number 3 commences in a few minutes right here on the Pete Shepard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Andersen windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Andersen windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Pete Shepard Show.
Occasional commercials playing. Yeah, that's coming over my end. All right, now it's back. Anyway, welcome back to the Pete Shepard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out across the awesome video platform and joining me. Very happy to have Trevor Harris joining me, one of the producers for the Miami Hurricanes Football Network over on WQAM in Miami. And also, he'll tell you about his podcast. I got to be on his show a couple of weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. Trevor, welcome. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful. It is a beautiful week. Florida State lost on a wonderful game-winning kick all day.
Oh, man.
And we have the best, I like to say my favorite rivalry, Florida versus Miami this week. Anyways, that's my favorite thing I'm ready to see this weekend.
It was so glorious. I put some shekels on Georgia Tech. I got them at 11.5. I mean, all the smart money came in on Georgia Tech. I mean, all the underdogs covered over the weekend in week 0, but I loved it. I was on Fort Myers Beach with some friends, and it was fantastic. But the first drive, Florida State just marched down the field and ran through them like a sieve. And I was like, oh, shit, don't even tell me it's going to be there. But Georgia Tech responded immediately. They score, and then they shut Florida State down for several consecutive drives. And that was great. Great call by Joe Tessitore at the end on ESPN. But
my favorite part was Joe Tessitore and the color guy, I forgot his name, was they drank a beer on air, which is my favorite thing ever. They look at Guinness on air. Like they said,
yeah, sure. McAfee did on Friday.
Yes, he was blacked out drunk anyways during the show.
He said then he came on game day, and he said he had 30 Guinnesses. 30.
That is wild. It's like, how can you do that? I could do Modelo's at least, maybe like 4 or 5 of those, but 30 Guinnesses is impressive, I like to say.
Penguin AZ says, welcome. What up, Trevo?
What up, Penguin AZ? How we doing?
Yep. Do you know that guy?
He was. He had a show with someone, and people know me.
Yeah.
I have a crazy following, I like to say. Like, people love the podcast. People know me because I go to games all the time.
Tell me about your podcast. Tell me about the podcast that was on is it the Upper Bowl?
The Upper Bowl. I've been doing this podcast since 2018. After I got done with CSB, my classes, I was like, all right, I'm going to do a podcast. I was doing it with my buddy Derek Leaf, and we wanted to talk sports, gambling, funny stuff that we liked. Did that, then 2020 hit, and he didn't want to do it anymore, so I had a lot of my buddies do it, and we did that for a while because all my buddies were out of work and couldn't go anywhere, so we did the podcast every week. We were talking about the sports. We always kept it to the sports and like funny docs that we liked. Anyways, we talked about the Jordan documentary that was going on the whole time. We talked about that. We were talking about football drafts. We did a crazy like snake drafts and stuff. Like, who would you want to live in a house with if you were locked in with? And then you choose athletes and stuff. So like you have to have like a funny person, a wild person, and who would be the bartender at least. So you can choose anybody at least. It was like I had like Jeremy Roenick and like so many rando people. It was literally like people said, Trevor just wants to have a house party all the time. I was like, exactly. That's how we did it.
I don't know if you had Sega Genesis back in the day when it first came out. How old are you? You're a young guy.
I'm 32. So my first gaming console was the original Xbox. So like the original Xbox, not the 360.
Oh God!
The PS2 as well, also.
Yeah, how many red lights went on in your Xbox back in the day?
We had maybe 4 because of Madden 05. My brother was the Patriots, I was the Eagles, and someone must have threw a controller all the time anyway.
Yeah, we'll get to your one fault in a second. No, not a fault, but anyway, Angel's going crazy because Angel Martinez is from Philadelphia.
Yeah,
originally he lives in Tampa Bay now. So we'll get your thoughts on that. But I was going to say. Jeremy Roenick back in the day on Sega Genesis hockey, fucking phenomenal. Like unstoppable. I mean, it didn't matter what. He was phenomenal, and that was a serious game. And then I had the Xbox, but there was nothing worse in life, sort of, than seeing that red light go on the Xbox. And
the red light of death.
You about it, you can't fix it. There's nothing you can do except shell out another $300 to go get another one.
Then Xbox decided, like, let's take the hard drive out so you could keep your memory out, and so you don't have to start every game all over again. That's the best part.
Brutal. All right, so how'd you become an Eagles fan? Now, you went to school where I went to school at Connecticut School of Broadcasting. At the time, when I was there, I was at Wellesley Hills. Happened to be in the Hall of Fame. Now it's called CSB School of Broadcasting. Dick Robinson still does his show down here in Florida.
There we go.
I've been on his yacht before. He took me to an Al Martino concert at Mohegan Sun, which was fantastic. Him and his wife, Sally, are 2 great people. But so you went to school where I went to school. And where'd you grow up in New England?
I was born in New Haven, lived in Orange for a long time, then moved to New Canaan when I was going into middle school. So like 4th grade, we all moved down to New Canaan. And here's the funny part. That is New York Giant country. Growing up in Orange, there's a bunch of like random fans, like you're Patriot fans, Steeler fans, Eagle fans, Giant fans, Jet fans, like a little bit of everybody. Packer fans. Because in Connecticut, you had 2 Fox stations.
Yeah,
New York one and the Connecticut one. The Connecticut one would be kind of a wild card. If there's an early game that was like New York got blacked out because there's a Jet home game, they would throw on the better early game. The Eagles were always on, so it's like. We grew up I grew up watching the Eagles. Sometimes the Patriots were on Fox 25 as well. if they were playing an NFC opponent and when there's a Giant game on. So you would have 2 Fox games and you had 2 games going on all the time, which I loved anyways. Later on in life, I found out they got rid of the Connecticut Fox station. So like if the Patriots were on Fox playing an NFC team and the Giants were on late at 4:05, everyone got mad because you don't have access anymore. So I blame Cablevision for ruining a bunch of these days anyway.
But when you first were starting out, I mean, you're in Connecticut, which is usually half split Patriots, half Jets. Not a lot of Giants. I mean, there's some.
There's a decent amount of Giants
fans in New England because before the Patriots existed, the Giants were the only team in town. So there's a lot of people around New England that are Giants fans because of that. Because there was no Patriots, and they were Giants fans long before, and just kind of got passed down. And I get that.
The Giants played at the Yale Bowl for a minute too. People forget about. So there's a lot of there's a Giant contingency in New Haven a lot. So so it's crazy. Like for me, McNabb was playing well. He was like, he was moving around, throwing the ball around. I was watching the game sticks out to me the most. The Eagles and Steelers 2000 when it was a shootout between the Eagles and Steelers. I think Cordell Stewart was the starting quarterback. It went to overtime. David Akers hit a game-winning field goal, and Andy Reid was coming out and said, "How about those Eagles?" And I was like, "There we go." And my mom saw that. I was like, "Oh no!" And my whole mom's side was all New York Giant fans.
Oh, jeez.
Yes.
So what's it like? What was it like growing up with in those games at home? Giants versus Eagles at home.
So my first game going down. My uncle's a diehard Giant fan. When he saw me come home with a McNabb and a Hugh Douglas jersey, he wanted to. He was like, he had heads down like this.
Oh, no.
And my mom's a Jet fan. She's like, well, at least he's going to live longer anyways.
Oh, man. I make fun of the Jets as often as I can.
I can't make fun of the Jets anymore. Like, all my good content was being used up in the early 2010s with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan and the foot fetish thing. So it's like, I need new content now.
Yeah, her foot sticking out that car door window and him coming around was something I will never, ever forget.
Me neither. It's the best thing ever in sports talk radio that whole week anyways. And Wes Welker doing his thing about foot fetishes as well. So
that and the Sunday night game, Patriots-Jets, which the Patriots won. And when Joe Namath, when he was drunk on the sideline, went up to Susie Colbert and she's trying to ask him nicely, I want to kiss you. And I remember doing the Patriots postgame show back then for myself and Fred for Smirlis and Steve Diassi. That's all people wanted to talk about, not the game. Did you see how drunk Joe Namath was? I want to kiss you.
Still an all-time drop of all time anyways.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All right, so now how long have you been at QAM? How long have you been doing?
I have been doing the Canes game since my first season, 2022. I first got down here. My first week of work down here was Super Bowl week, so which was crazy. So I did Canes football. My first week was doing Panther games, Canes basketball games. Then I was doing that for the whole time. Then I was doing Panther games all of my first year and doing Canes football games, which I love doing. And I also was doing Dolphin football games on the weekend. So it was like Canes Saturdays, Dolphin Sunday. Wild time. This is like Mike McDaniel's first year anyways.
Did you do Florida Panther games this year too?
I did a few Florida Panther games this year. I did more Miami Heat games this year. So I get tabbed in case we're down a producer. It's like, Trevor, can you do it? I was like, fine, I'll do a triple for a weekend.
Well, all right. So tell us. Let's get into it. And it's funny because I have so much respect for Paul Maurice and what he did with the Panthers. And over here in Fort Myers is the back-to-back-to-back ECHL Kelly Cup champion, Florida Everblades, whose Paul's son Jake does play-by-play down here.
Yeah,
with the Everblades. I don't think he's going to be there too much longer because he's so good. He'll just move up to AHL or NHL teams. But for now, he's excellent at what he does. And up until a couple of months ago, the Florida Panthers, the Florida Everblades, were tied into the Florida Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That was their ECHL team, but you know how it works in the EC. It's all about money. You get bounced around. So they're affiliated now with the St. Louis Blues. But that was something else that they won back-to-back champions, back-to-back-to-back champs, and the Florida Panthers won it. It was great for all the organizations. It was a blast down here.
All great for the family, we could say.
Yeah, no question. All right, so tell me Saturday, Gators.
Yes.
Miami Hurricanes. I will be there. I cannot wait.
I will go next year when it's at Hard Rock. I made a rule to myself. I have to go to one Canes game if I'm living down here, and I have to do. I was looking between Notre Dame and Miami and Florida. I was like, I might as well do the Florida game. That seems more of a fun rivalry to go to.
Notre Dame would be. Notre Dame might be better.
I know. I'm thinking about I'm talking to the girlfriend. I was like, all right, Florida or Notre Dame? She's a Texas Tech gal. I was like, let me get back to you on that one.
Was your girlfriend there when Patrick Mahomes was there?
Yeah, she was there when Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield too.
Oh Jesus!
So Baker Mayfield was when she was in sororities and stuff. So they had like someone from the football team. Baker Mayfield was their coach. She's like, I hate that dude so much. He was such a cool back.
Yeah. Well, he's matured a little bit. He's going to be good for the Buccaneers. He's been good for the Buccaneers. I think they'll contend for the division. But let's swamp this weekend.
Yep.
Miami and Florida. So what time I want people to live behind the scenes. Look what your day is like with Joe Zagacki and the rest of the crew that doing. We had Joe on the show last week. I love Joe to death. Fantastic. One of the best ever in the business. And he's so passionate about the Hurricanes for so many years. But what's your day like, or night before even like? I mean, do you get what do you have to do?
So the day before, like the Friday, I usually go into the studio. I like to listen to all the sound. So like all the sound is pretty good. It's like really good, crystal clear, up to par, because we don't want like a baby crying. We don't want to hear like any crazy noises at all. I like to listen to all the audio. I do that. Make sure I have a checklist of all the whole segment of the rundown, what we have to do anyway. So I print that out first, go to the studio, listen to all the audio.
What time though? What time? The game's at 3:30. What time do you usually get there? Noon?
If I get there, I usually like to get there around 10-ish before pregame, like an hour before. Maybe 9:45 if traffic.
Pregame at 2:30. Pregame at 2:30.
2:30 will be network. So we have a local pregame. So we start at 11 anyways.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh, so you're doing all right. So you're doing.
We do local,
then
we do the network pregame, which is locals with Danny Rabinowitz and Brian Monroe, who's the punter for the Canes teams back in the day. And then we have a bunch of guests come on, like Tim Reynolds on. It's actually my favorite pregame show to listen to. It's just football, funny stuff. Tim Reynolds breaking some news about some stuff, or just talks about a random story. Was when he was at the Olympics, probably coming up this year.
Oh, that's right. So that's awesome. So you get all that done, and then you have to. I mean, the segments that have to be produced, and they're all sponsored. I'm sure.
Yep.
You got to make sure your boys. I mean, Joe and everybody.
I cut those liners for him all the time. Don't worry. I make sure I label them perfectly. I send them out immediately. Like, hey, here you go. Here's the liners for.
You have to. It has to be like kindergarten. It has to be like written for. Because I know I've done it. I mean, not done. I haven't produced, but I've been on the receiving end. I'm like, I want everything. Announcers, play-by-play people, and color people want everything in apple pie order.
Yes.
Because you don't want to sound like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they do is blame the producer.
Yep. Which I've not been blamed yet for the Canes games. I've been doing a well job so far, anyways.
I've always said that you can't have successful radio or digital or whatever you're doing in this business without good producers, especially in good markets that we know we're all used to being in. It makes a huge difference in the world. I had worked with not many numbnuts, but a couple, and my God, it's like, how do you even piss in the morning? How do you get up and even walk to the toilet?
That's how I feel sometimes. It's like, I feel like sometimes we're there to save the day, and when you don't have a producer that wants to save the day, I feel like one of us has to take a job. Like, all right, I'm going to save the day so no one gets yelled at by sales at least, or the PD at least.
No, I know when I was hosting the Real Postgame show back for many years, over a decade at WEI, so there would be 3 producers just doing – now, we weren't the flagship for the Patriots, but we would run all the national – we'd get the Westwood One feed. We were able to run that back after the game, plus, any press conferences that we tape off the TV. Yeah. Or if we had a reporter there, which I used to do that stuff, and then you'd have to run the sound back to. But anyway, it used to take at least 3 people to cut, because once you get a highlight, you cut it up, and while that's cutting, another machine is still recording the game as it's going on. And so, do you have anybody to assist you with this stuff, or you have to do everything on your own?
So it's a 3-person job, actually.
Oh, good.
So we have one guy running the board. There's one guy doing liners, and another guy doing highlights. If one of those, I usually do highlights after that, or if the board guy, that I do the board usually. So it all depends who's out usually, and then we have another person filling in for another person. So it's a 3-person job. I think it's the most fun, like when you get to be with people, anyways. Especially when you're doing liners, it's a lot of fun, anyways. You make sure I label it perfectly. Like first quarter, Kendall
Yeah.
Toyota, Josie,
Yeah,
like first
sure.
quarter of Milam's Markets, anyways. Make sure everything gets like I label, and the salespeople's like, you don't have to label like I'm labeling
you
it,
do.
so I don't get yelled at by you.
I can hear going, yeah, Marlon Toyota, Josie. Like people say their name, Josie. Oh,
Yeah.
that's not supposed to say that.
Absolutely. So I make sure everything's perfect anyway, so we don't have any problems at all anyway. So it's a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
It's like it's also a lot of college football because the host for the
Yes. Yeah.
pregame stays until halftime anyways. And he always asks, I want this game on. I want this game on. It's usually Canes game 1 if it's
Yeah.
on local television. Then you have whatever game he wants that he wants to watch. Then we always choose a rando game. It's like if it's a West Coast game, we love the Pac-12 after dark. So we would love any ASU game, USC game, UCLA, Washington.
Yeah.
We love that because you would get entertainment because sometimes during local post game, if there's a good game going on, like, hey, check this. We would like do a little play-by-play. We won't get in trouble by it. So
well, it's too bad. It's too bad you guys don't have YouTube TV in there. What I love about YouTube TV is you can do, a bunch of quad boxes. If you want. I love it. I mean, I've had it now for 2 years. It's fantastic. And I love how the sound is up on each box.
Yes.
So as soon as you flip to it, you scroll over and boom, it's that sound of that game. It's pretty cool. I love
As someone who has DirecTV, I may have to make the change possibly so we can have the quad box.
Yeah, and the football package. Well, how do you get the football package now?
I just buy YouTube TV only just for the football package, and I just leave my DirecTV straight for everything else.
It would have been cheaper if you purchased YouTube TV, just the basic package, and still got the discount.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been under $400. I think you could still get it for $386 right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's still cheaper. Did you see the app for Apple? What they're doing?
No, I've not seen that yet. No, because I'm an Android guy. That's why. So like, I have MacBooks, iPads, iPod touches. I just don't like I don't like the phone. That's me.
They're charging $699 if you get the Sunday ticket through the Apple app. Now I'm thinking, why would you do that? And if you bundle in the NFL, if Red Zone, it goes up to $750 something, whatever it is.
Can I get Peacock with that too? Can I get Peacock for that? Throw Peacock and Amazon Prime. Just do the whole bundle,
Well, I don't know why anybody would do that when you can just buy YouTube TV, even if you already have your other cable service, buy YouTube TV and then get the NFL ticket at a discount. I don't know why anybody would go on the Apple app and spend that kind of money. It's just stupid.
That's dumb. That's really, really dumb. It shows that all these companies want to bend us over and take all of our money anyways. Like, I got your wallet here. Now I'm going to take it all, including your credit card.
All right. So your day, say for a 3:30 game, you're getting at 10.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. The game, say for shits and giggles, it's basically 3 hours, especially nowadays. So the game ends at 6:30, but then you get post game.
Yep.
God forbid it goes overtime. But so you get out of there, what, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
I think 9 or 10 usually, because we have a local post game too also. So we have the locker room show, which Josie shoots down to DBJ in the locker room interviewing people, which is the most entertaining thing of all time because you get the real reaction from all the players and stuff. Means we got to hover the dump button the whole time in case the player says something stupid at least. So I like to say the locker room show is my favorite. The one time we had to do a locker room show, so NC State does not allow microphones or anything downstairs in the locker room. So we had to do everything by telephone. I'm not joking. This is a development.
Are you serious?
I am not joking. This is a real thing. We had to have like phones. We were playing a game of telephone. Like who's with who?
Cameras? What about TV cameras?
I don't know. I don't think so either. I think no cameras or microphones. That's what I was told. So it was an absolute outrage. So we did do the game, the locker room show via telephone over the phone, which was wild, anyways.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So
Joey B on the text says, "Good morning, Pete." Says Trevor still looks like the pissed off guy at Chick-fil-A on Sunday for getting their clothes. Oh, that's good stuff.
That is a running joke. It's like he said that to me on Crossing Broadcast last week. Like you would go to line like, no, I've never done that before, but thanks.
I'm a TV and movie savant. I don't remember that commercial. I probably would if I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But so you look like the guy in the commercial?
I guess so. I've never seen the commercial anyways, so I don't know what commercial he's talking about.
Well, you're famous. Anyway, Trevor Harris with us. He's the host of the Upper Bowl podcast, and he works at WQAM and produces Hurricane games, Panther games, Heat games. What else?
Dolphins. I do the Dolphins post
Dolphins.
game, our game dance post game show. I do that, so good to hear my takes about the Dolphins, at least, especially when they play Week 1 versus Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. So that's, and again, long. It's an 9 hour day, right? When you're there.
Yeah, we're like 10 usually. This is a local post game. It goes long, so we play interview. We play sometimes we replay the interviews of like whoever the quarterback was. I'm like last year we played Tyler Van Dyke or Mario Cristobal, so we're good to go anyways. So
yeah, I know. I listen to Mario's show online and stuff, and I know I follow Joe.
Yep.
Do you have a Twitter handle, by the way? Why couldn't I find you on Twitter?
I do have a Twitter. It's T_Harris_18. Anyways, that is me. Anyways, so that is my Twitter. T_Harris_18. That is my Twitter.
Okay, I gotta find it. T Harris. I don't know, for some reason it was T Harris. Okay, yeah, I'll remember it now. I'll look it up after. But yeah, it's just I was like, wait, because I like to link everything on all the stuff. I linked you on Facebook, fine.
Yep.
And all that. So again, why have, or maybe they have, you have any aspirations of being on the air at QAM? Have they offered you any time of part-time stuff?
So I do a lot of I do the post game show. It's me and Dan Day, so I get to talk about the Dolphins, and so I get everyone to see my thoughts of the Dolphins, which I go with the outside perspective. Like I also look at like what would the New England Miami Dolphin fan would say also. Yeah. That's what I always think of. When I think Dolphins, I think of the ones up north because there's more Dolphin fans up north than down here. I've noticed.
Well, let me ask. So the tour situation was a highly volatile one. Him going back and forth with Brian Flores.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know him personally. I've had people on the air that do. I mean, all that bullshit, and you call him a terrible person and everything else, and then I don't know. I just it seemed a little ridiculous. And the truth is probably someplace in between. But what was it like for you the last couple of weeks and you guys down there? And also, I didn't hear a lot of other Miami Dolphin players complaining that much about Brian Flores. So that's why, I mean, God, he's that overly sensitive. Then I posted a Bill Parcells clipping from the other day, from years ago, and just shitting all over anybody.
Yeah.
And I remember what's his name, the linebacker for the Giants, not LT, not Pepper.
Just the Armstead.
Yeah, and he's like, and guys go, but coach goes, no. He goes, you got to fight, and you get thrown out of this game. Yeah, but coach goes, he goes, you're going home. Little pause, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think players today, it's just the disrespect when they hear that being disrespect. I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm. I felt like he was a kind of a diva move for him. Like he's like, the coach is gone. You're having the most success for your life, and this is getting brought up, and you come off like a diva and a baby about it. And I look at it as like, be the better person and just say like, I moved along, go with the past is the past, the present is the present, like Mark McGuire would say. But I just think he looked like he looked bad in this situation, and I'll call him a baby for it. It's like, dude.
How were your listeners? How were the callers into the station that week or the last couple of weeks as far as that goes? Were they defending him or they call him soft?
Some people call him soft. Some people are defending him. There's a big fan base. There's a thing called Toulanon. I think I fought with Toulanon, and I told him, like, listen, I have better things to fry. If you want to go after Eagles Twitter, they'll eat you alive, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. These Dolphin fans like, oh, really? It's like, yeah, you haven't seen me off air anyways. So
I say this all the time, and I'm glad you brought that up. And it sounds like New England snobbyism or snot, and I'm not doing it. There is such a huge difference between Philadelphia, New York, and Boston.
Yeah.
Because they're all parochial cities. They don't really care about college football all that much on the whole. I mean, I always did.
Yeah.
But I was in the minority. But you're strictly talking about the professional teams in those three markets. And the media there compared to the media in Miami is brutal. I mean, it's like some of those people, not all of them, but there's a few.
Yeah.
They wouldn't last a day. They would not allow, I don't care what part of the broadcast business you're in or writing. You wouldn't last a day.
Oh, yeah.
In some of those markets, if you're not tough-skinned.
Like Javon Holland, when he said like when Vic Fangio got fired, it's like doing the kick rocks thing. Like he would be ripped to shreds.
Kick rocks.
And he literally, and they would probably find a way for him to take him. You got to call in a WIP to defend yourself, or EEI, or any other, or FAN. which
Yeah.
that would be the biggest day since Kurt Schilling calling in and going after
You
Dennis
remember
and Callahan.
how you remember when I was hosting that day with Butch Stearns?
Yes.
He's like, "Who said I didn't give Pedro a hug?" And I go, "That's that guy. That's Butch Stearns, Fox 25." He's like, "I hugged Pedro." As soon as Butch said, I said, because it was like the third, I said, "You're asking for trouble. This better be true because I don't know what you're coming up with here." Butch is Butch and whatever. But that was hysterical. I mean, that we made year-long bits out of that.
Yes.
That 15-minute interview. It was great. Kurt Schilling could just call in and call you out if he thought something you said was off the chart. I wish more athletes would do that.
That's what I grew up with. I want the athletes to do this. Like, I would love to see Tua Tagovailoa go after Joe Rose or whoever, or go after me to like, who are you to call after my integrity, or like Jalen Hurts.
What does Joe think about? What does Joe think about Tua?
He likes them and stuff. I haven't got deep down and talked to him about it because we always talk Canes, his tennis game, and a few other things at least.
Oh shit. All right, Trevor. This has been awesome. So again, plug whatever. Talk about your podcast. And I was talking to Angel about it off the air. It's like, man, if you ever want to get, and we're always looking for programming, but I mean, a chance if you're ever interested in getting on this network, that'd be great.
For sure. The Upper Bowl podcast has been doing this since 2018. Football season is upon us, so we love to make fun of the Guest the Line segment by from Bill Simmons that he did with cousin Sal. And this year it's me and my buddy Eric, and we have our other buddy AJ. He's going to do his own version of 10 questions with Greg Bedard, and he's going to ask us about random stuff.
I know Greg. Fuck Greg.
So he's going to do that.
I'm not talking personally. I'm talking professionally.
Yeah.
Him and Ben Volen up there, just, whatever they say about football, I take with a grain of salt.
Yes.
Bedard already backtracked on some of the comments he made about Drake May.
Oh, I know.
A couple of weeks ago. He's already done the beep, beep, beep. He's a good guy and everything. It's just, it'll be fun. That'll be a fun segment.
Yeah, so we do that. We usually have a guest every week to help us preview whatever game we want to talk about or just talk football and stuff. I usually have my buddy Sam Lubman on from 95.7 The Game in San Francisco.
Nice.
It's a non-flagship for the 49ers, but they do a pregame, postgame show. It's also the home of the Warriors, so we always talk about the Bay Area, especially with the 49ers, what's going on up there. He's also a Raider fan too. I always have to ask his opinion. What's going on with the Raiders, at least? I think
have fun with Gardner Minshew. The Minshew era has begun. Good luck.
I think that Raider team will be maybe worse than the Art Shell team in 2006. I'll say that for sure.
Joey B says, if Trevor shaved, he'd look like a young Adam Sandler.
I'm not going to lie. I did do the clean shaving look for a while. I didn't like it at all because I got ID'd too much in college. That's why.
And where'd you go? Where'd you go to school?
I went to Muskingum University, small D3 school in middle of nowhere, Ohio, which is an hour east of Columbus. And lo and behold,
is that near Denison?
It's near Denison. Yes, it's very near Denison. So I was near there.
Right across over there. A buddy's a good friend of mine's son went there.
There we go. My buddy's girlfriend for almost 10 years went there too, and she's like, "You go there?" It's like, "You're coming every weekend when Eric comes." Like, perfect. That's why.
That's awesome. All right, Trevor. Best of luck. Let's do this again. Sooner.
Definitely.
I love it. Have a blast, and we won't be on Monday because that's a holiday, but that Tuesday, whatever sound you want to send my way, feel free.
Oh, I'll send you that email immediately. Don't worry. I'll get it to you right after when it hits 000. How about that?
And if they win, if you want me on your post game show, I'll be in this. I'm 10 rows behind.
Okay.
Miami Hurricane bench, 10 rows behind.
Okay. I will.
I'm not going to talk about what kind of condition I'll be. I'm a vodka soda drinker, so I'll tailgate. We're tailgating before. Inside, I probably just have water because I'm not spending. I'm not a beer drinker, so I
saw those prices that Washington had. That's an outrage. As someone who used to go to that game for Eagles games, that's an absolute outrage. I got tickets for $74 in club level, and that was even more ridiculous. By the way, we were talking about that today. I punched up the numbers there because Harris was talking about how much he's putting into the stadium and renovating. And I said, really, look at this. And then they played. Thing about the Falcons and Arthur Blank, who he's doing it right, still has $2 hot dogs and $5 beers, and that's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And I don't know why every owner cannot follow that platform because it's outrageous. It is embarrassing and criminal what's being charged in these stands. Hard Rock's no better. Hard Hard Rock. I'm actually not a fan of Hard Rock.
Sodas, $60 vodka sodas for a Canes game.
Here's the funny thing. I'm not a fan of Hard Rock Stadium, actually. It looks like it got like a new fresh paint. It looks like a facelift for plastic surgery. If I like to go to a game, it's like, I've been to Tampa. That they should be giving out water for free there because you're in the sun the whole time.
I know.
I love Arizona. My favorite one out of any of them is Arizona. You're indoors, roof, perfect. We blast AC on you. You're good to go. The prices aren't terrible, at least.
Awesome. All right, Trevor. All the best. So what's your day like the rest of the day?
I'm about to go work out, watch some football, listen to some clips, see what I can put on my notes for the podcast this week. And I got to record a fantasy football preview podcast for the Upper Bowl podcast this week and an AFC West preview podcast as well. So,
and the last, that's got to be tough. No Lamb, no Chase, no Ayuk. I mean, that is, it must be putting fantasy football people, their panties must all be in a bunch. Like, what do we do? Because you keep hearing the same thing. All three of those guys will be signed by the 8th.
Nope.
I don't know.
It's the 26. It is the I'm going to say that I think CD Lamb will sign. Remember when Le'Veon Bell did his little holdout and missed the whole entire season? I think he'll do that, but I don't see it happening. I will say this: Ayuk, if he's not traded, he'll just. I guess he will play week 1. I'll be entertained if he doesn't.
We'll see. All right, Joey says at Raymond James Stadium, Angel gets reverse sunburn. LOL. Love the analyst of day games there at the stadium by Angel. Okay, yeah. Angel, of course, from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Trevor, get out of here. I kept you long enough. Let's do this again soon. And anytime you want me on your show, let me know. I'm always there for you. So
for sure, we'll definitely do that. Thank you, Pete, as always.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot. It's Trevor Harris, one of the executive producers for Miami Hurricanes football, and does the Dolphins postgame show and the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers and a whole bunch of other stuff. Oh, that's pretty good, Angel, huh?
Yeah, no, it was good. Really entertaining. I've going to listen up to his podcast. He see what he's got going on there, but he's got a busy one. We're trying to line up 3 of them plus your daily duties. It makes it a little bit tough, but he's entertaining. He's not boring whatsoever, which is always a great thing because some people sometimes you never know. But Trevor is he's got his stuff together, which is it's good stuff. I can only imagine him at a game.
Oh yeah, it's funny. You're a crazy Eagle fan, so God only knows what you do.
Yep.
But that's funny growing up in Connecticut that he wasn't a Giant, Jet, or Patriot fan, and then ends up being an Eagle fan because he loved Donovan McNabb. When he said his first gaming system was the original Xbox, that's when I'm like, oh God. But he knows his shit. He knows his stuff, and that's great.
He does. He talked about that red light, and you mentioned it as well, the red light on the Xbox, which is man, that was the one that used to kick you in the high end every single time. But that was a good story when he mentioned he came home with the Eagles gear and then just Dad put his head down. But listen, we're a whole.
Or his uncle, that's funny, like being disowned.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So do you think you're going to have a show today or not? I'm going to have to update my laptop here in a minute, so we're going to end the show a little bit early. But you think you're going to be on today or not, or maybe later on?
Maybe it might be a little bit of a late start here, as I got to get a couple things done before prior to come back on air.
Cool. All right. Now, other shows repeated on the network as well. I know you can go to SR 1029 and get all this stuff, but are they repeated as well on some of the on the network?
Yeah. So usually, if I don't have my show afterwards, then I grab the audio and repeat your show at 12 o'clock. So those who missed it, they can hear it. And of course, it's always available on the instant replay, the video version. The audio usually takes a little bit longer for me to do, but everybody else can end up going to SR1029thegame.com over on the sports radio tab. And you guys can see all the replay shows there as well. So everything that happened last week, like for example, Friday's show, your show is up there along with the tweet from Friday, along with the audio from Friday. And then today, obviously, it'll be updated for today's show. So if you guys ever missed the replay from the live shows, always visit SR1029thegame.com sports radio tab. And you guys, any show that is missed will be up there. A great person I can say that does that all the time, Gasp from Guy. And he always goes back and lets me know exactly what he missed, what segment, especially. And for those who don't know, Gasp from Guy is doing a weekly segment over on Martinez and Company. So last week, the last 2 weeks, he's done a really good segment. So if you guys want to hear his weekly segments, you normally will try to do it on Fridays to kind of make it easier, especially now since the regular season is coming around. So we'll do that on Fridays. And then who knows, he'll be popping in via video, hopefully here soon. Or if not, at least something pre-recorded so I can have it up there so everybody can kind of get used to him. So thanks to Gas Pump Guy and his weekly segment from the Bucks, doing the Bucks report. And he's getting there. He's getting his legs under him. He had the boat legs first. Of course, I kid. But he did a good job. And then last week, he stepped it up a little bit more. And it'll just get better. It's all about opportunities.
And Joey says, $18 for vodka. So no, I know I won't be buying them at all. No, it's for a tiny. No, I will not be. That is not going to happen. Rick says, I'm challenging everyone watching to go on the app to pick games and beat me.
Yeah,
because on the app, right, it's just picking winners. It's not against the spread, correct?
No, it's not against the spread. It's just picking winners every single week, which makes it fun. It's been like 2 or 3 years, might be a little bit longer than that since the last time I did it, but I figured to have fun with everybody here who listens in to your show, Martinez Company, and of course the Drive with Q. So we can all just have fun with it. But yeah, it's weekly picks. And then we used to, like I said, at the end of the season, we used to do all kinds of goofy stuff. Like everybody knows I would absolutely cringe if I have to wear a Cowboys anything, period.
Well, I am dead. I accept the challenge only because Balboa is no challenge. But I'll be happy to beat up on him some more. Rick, I'm coming after you. You tell him, my man. We'll kill him.
Yeah,
anyway,
good.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's all. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll definitely plug that a lot so people understand. That's great stuff. All right, Angel, that is going to do it for this edition. Tomorrow, more great guests coming up.
Yeah,
which is awesome. I think she's going to be one of the our new sponsor, and she had a great NFL draft party. I'll let her explain that the other night. Some good stuff. They always have great stuff going on over there, where her bar is on Fort Myers, and a few other guests as well that you know. I'm just trying to confirm a few. Thanks to Angel Martinez. Thanks to Trevor Harris. Great stuff, everybody. I will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. baby. Bye.